Judgment time.
Welcome to Everything Comes Back to 2000 AD, and today I'm joined by Mr. Stephen Ross.
Mr. Rossy, what you want? Oh, the tree of ice cream cones, a cocoa castle full of home, custard cakes, coffee breaks, holiday world will say.
Hello from sunny and kinda humid Southern California.
Mr. John Burtis.
Hello to all you truckers out there from the desert of America.
That's actually pretty good, Rossy.
As you know, he's on the road like Charles Kuralt.
I thought he was walking around the streets of California telling people, the homeless people, to get their act together. Straighten up, get your act together, get a job.
Oh, that would have been a full-time job. Yeah, well, we can talk about the death of Hollywood if you want.
Well, let's do the deaths. I think there's just one.
Okay. Since this is a DC thing, do you want to do it?
No,
yourself?
you can do it. He's going to kneel before God now.
Yes. Terrence Stamp, who is General Zod in the Richard Donner Superman movies. He's passed away. I did not look him up.
I think he's 79.
You know, he's of that age. It's weird. It's like that 70s bubble seems to be...
Oh, you're typing.
I am.
He was 87.
Well, I told you.
He was 87.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's a little bit. Well, hopefully he lived to a healthy 87. And I looked up Richard Donner and Terrence Stamp because...
Oh, Donner's dead. I think he died a while back.
He was on my mind. All right, you're right. 87 years old. Born in 1938. There's no birth date given. Maybe that's when he came from Krypton.
He was born 22nd of July.
He was one of 7 English actors.
Famous ones.
Won the gold. That's right. Well, they do rotate them out. You know, they'll be like famous for about 10 years. You know, you got the Peter Sellers, Michael Caine crew, and then like recently it was like Cumberbatch and Idris Elba and a few of those, and so we'll see who's next. He was
Did you know he actually played Jor-El in Smallville?
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. He was in the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, he was one of the chancellors, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yes, okay. I can picture him now. Get Smart. Oh, so he was in Get Smart, not the was it the Nude Bomb? That was like the Get Smart movie. He was actually in that Get Smart reboot with Steve Carell, I guess.
Mm.
All right. So anyway, he's got a long... I'm still scrolling.
And he was sticking Elektra.
Right. So if I go to his filmography, it's a long list. It took that long to scroll down through it. So anyway, yeah, I mean, if you're a nerd, you know who he is, but he's one of those guys that's done like, he's like, what's his face? Ian McKellen, who's done like so much like legitimate theater and real films that, you know, Gandalf was and Magneto were just like the tip of the iceberg for him. So
Well, he
he's
was
one of those kind
also
of those
Dracula
guys.
on stage as well.
Terrence Stamp.
Yep.
Yeah.
He played Dracula in
So
1978.
so yeah, I mean he was a good General Zod. and he was I have no complaints about his performance in the Phantom Menace. So
You didn't even remember him,
um
dude.
no, I do now. Yes, he was Counselor Valorum.
Yeah, but it's only when it was pointed out he's in the Phantom Menace you remembered him.
Yeah, well, but then I remember without, believe it or not, I did not look at Wikipedia to find out his character's name in the Phantom Menace. I did remember that with my own brain.
Oh, there you
So
go.
yeah, so because
Extra points.
I'm drinking Sang Vietnamese coffee this morning to make the show that much more electric.
Well, that's the only death I saw. I didn't see anybody else.
Yeah, I think there was one other like musician thing, but
That's
that's
John's
John's
domain.
thing. Yeah, so hopefully he's collected. Hopefully John will have like many deaths to share that we neglected. See, this is why you can't fire him. You know, we we have to keep him happy so he'll keep coming back. Because who would do the deaths without him?
Well, I do have. I don't have any more deaths, but I do have some adventures in Trumpland.
Okay, besides John's own adventures in Trumpland,
Oh,
what
you
have
can
you
talk
got?
about that. You can talk about that too, because that can be part of it. Um, so Trump had the meeting with Putin,
Yeah.
and he said he'd be disappointed if he didn't get a ceasefire. Like it'd be a waste of time. But
Hmm.
after he was so delighted with the reaction from Putin that, or the meeting went really well, that he said,
Hmm.
we're not going to have a ceasefire. We're going to go straight to the peace plan." Right? The
Hmm.
media in this country is so fucking disgraceful. I mean, the BBC is pretty bad too. They're all like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's a failure that you didn't get a ceasefire." I said, you missed what the guy said." And then
Hmm.
Marco Rubio appeared on TV the other day. I think it was CNN or MSNBC, Hate the Nation or whatever it is. Oh, State of the Nation, something like that. And she was asking him like, "What concessions did Putin give?" As if Marco Rubio was going to tell her. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Oh,
I'm going to
right.
tell
Yeah.
you what we talked about in secret. I'm like, oh my god! And then there was a story about how sloppy the White House was because there was a leak, and it turned out the leak was the menu that they had at the Alaska meeting, the menu that they had for lunch or dinner. That was the
The
leak.
leak is
Well,
Adam
yeah,
Schiff.
yeah. If it was salmon or if they had potatoes, that was the leak. I mean, that you can't hate the media in this country enough, and the BBC isn't that far behind it either.
No.
But,
So, what was? Because I have some thoughts. Usually the Trumpland thing is yours, but I'm kind of like, I, I I know we don't have a lot of interaction with our listeners, but maybe if from all those views we've been getting on YouTube and Rumble, maybe someone will pick it up. So these are legitimate questions I have. But first, could you please explain the sandwich story?
yeah, I think there were some cops that were doing their job and getting rid of or picking up illegal immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think they had some records on them. They weren't just your normal illegal immigrants; these were criminals.
Right.
And
Okay.
one guy saw it, yelled his ass off at the cop, and threw a sandwich at him. And then it turned out
Okay.
the next day they identified who the person was. It was in Washington D.C. They identified
Mm.
who the person was, and the person worked for the Department of Justice, so he got canned. I mean, the thing is, if you go to Washington D.C., and this is something that Trump, he did a little bit of it in his first term, and he's going to do more of it in the second term. He's going to remove the centralization of power away from D.C. He's going to spread the government out in different states, because when you go to D.C., everything's a bubble. They live in. They basically live in their own bubble, and 95 or even more percent of the workforce in DC are Democrats. So, if a Republican president gets in, I guarantee you those Democrats are working against his best wishes. They're slow walking everything. They're hiding things, guaranteed. And here's the thing that I agree with too: there should be term limits on congressmen and senators.
Oh my God, yes.
And the reason is that, like, you had that stupid fucking rally, no kings, there are no kings. But basically you do have kings, they're called politicians. And see, a president is only in power for 4 years, and if he's lucky, 8. And after that he's gone. But these senators and congressmen are there forever. Right? So they're the ones that they're the real power.
Right.
So they need term limits. They definitely need. I think a senator is like 6 years or something. But they definitely need like 2 terms or 3 terms, and that's it. You're done.
Right, and I think even more so.
I mean, how many presidents has Nancy Pelosi seen? In their time in
right,
Congress, or Chuck Grassley, or on the Republican side, Chuck Grassley or Lindsey Graham.
Well, and some of them, they can't even put a sentence together. Nancy Pelosi can't finish a sentence.
Well, she can when she's sober.
Right. But you've got like Dianne Feinstein, who like has so many handlers. Like, she's the brand, and then she's got all these handlers that are doing all the work because she's in a wheelchair. What? Not that a person in a wheelchair can't do that kind of thing, but I mean, it starts with she's in a wheelchair, but then she can't talk.
Right.
That's part of why she's in the wheelchair.
And they should resign and retire when they're like that. Yeah. They should resign and retire, because it's one thing to be in your 80s or 90s and have all your wits about you. It's another thing to be in your 80s and 90s and you can't move or talk, or basically you're Joe Biden vegetable.
Well, I mean, they should create a position like a mentorship position. So it's like, okay, so you hit, your 70s or something, and if you want, you can sidestep into this mentor position where you transition your successor. That would be fantastic. We could have the voice of wisdom without the harshness that kind of stress and travel and everything else would take on an older person's body. That would be cool. But will they do something like that? No, because it makes too much sense. And you got, like, people were saying, and they're not saying it very loud, but it was said by people on both sides, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she'd been she'd been a politician for decades. I hadn't heard of her, but then again, I'm not that political. But then all of a sudden, the T-shirts and the merch started popping up all over the place. And so I asked somebody who was like into her, so who was she? What did she do? And, she was a Supreme Court justice, and she fought for a lot of liberal causes. There was like no less than 4 or 5 kids' books about her. And it was the ones where they actually drew her smiling on the cover looked freaking weird, because she has that like that spinster librarian vibe, So anyway, and I was like, oh, cool. But towards the end of her life, they were saying, she really needed to have stepped down during the Obama period, because then Obama could have picked her successor, but she couldn't, or she would not. And so even though she would literally fall asleep on the job and couldn't lift her head, she kept the power until the day she died, and then Trump ended up picking her successor, and that was like a whole shit show that was entirely on Trump. And it's kind of like, no, it was on the person who should have retired and let the guy you wanted to pick. So it's not his fault that that's the rule, and that somebody decided to milk it to the last day of life, So because I can't even imagine what kind of valuable contributions she was giving to her last day if she couldn't lift her own head and was falling asleep. So
There's one other thing as well. There was you know who Laura Loomer is?
I keep hearing the name.
Well, if you've been loomered, you basically means you're fucked. Laura Loomer is she's a far right. No, she's far right. She's big time MAGA Trumper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Massive, and she basically vets the government. She's a podcaster, but she has Trump's ear, so
Right.
she'll go through all the vetting stuff to see, who these people are. For example, she found out that one of the people that authorized the Mar-a-Lago raid was still working for that department, right? So
Mm. Mm-hmm.
she let Trump know about it, and the guy was fired, right? So
Right.
she goes through and she finds out who the weasels are, trying to undermine Trump's agenda. But,
She's like a human doge.
but yeah, basically. But she, Bill Maher mentioned her on his show a while back. I think when Trump was running for he hadn't been elected yet. Second time, he was just running for office, and
Mm-hmm.
Maher insinuated that Trump was having sex with her and not with Melania,
Mm.
right? So she sued him. Laura Loomer sued him. So she did a deposition in court, and so did Bill Maher. But she's not afraid of anything. She released her deposition to the public. She wanted the public to
Uh-huh.
know. Bill Maher didn't do his. I don't think he did his. But Bill
Mm-hmm.
Maher's another one of those Weasley guys. But anyway,
Oh yeah.
uh, part of the deposition, it talked about how she volunteered information that Lindsey Graham, the politician, is gay because the staffers told her, but she was never asked that question.
Okay.
And then she just put it out there, and the guys are like, "Well, we didn't ask that. Yeah, we know, but we didn't ask that, right?" And then so
Jeez.
there's another part of the deposition where she has this running battle with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Mm-hmm.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's okay, but there's some couple of things she comes out with are just batshit crazy.
Yeah,
And
that's a WWE match I would love to see, the
yeah,
two of
and
them.
Loomer and her don't get on well, and Loomer's always insulting her. So Loomer
Yeah.
said that it must be hard for her boyfriend because he has to eat Arby's every night,
Oh my
right?
God.
And we all know what that means, right?
Sure.
It's referencing a woman's genitalia, how
Mm-hmm.
gross it could look with its Arby's, and she was asked about it in the deposition. What did you
Mm-hmm.
mean by that? And she says, well, she sticks Arby's down her pants. She answered it as if it was a literal thing, and she knows that it wasn't. But she answered it as if literal. It's the most batshit crazy deposition you could read. But I mean, she's out there. She just released it out there. But the thing about Lindsey Graham and then the Arby's, I mean, you when you read this, you're like, oh my god, this is a fucking court document. It's the funniest shit.
Yeah. What they should do is have like a rap battle or something. That would be awesome too.
Yeah, and MTG got a lot of press because she was talking about Jewish space lasers that hit Hawaii and caused all the fires. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're painted all our buildings blue, so they know not to hit those ones.
Well, the way things have been going, some of that maybe seeming a little less crazy now.
And she was the one that was talking. She's absolutely right about chemtrails, how they're trying to alter the atmosphere.
Yep.
She turned out to be right about that one.
Well, there was like that Bill Gates thing where they were trying to put like some kind of powder, and it was something that was supposed to help with the climate change or whatever, like cause a shield shield us from the sun by putting this powder up there and all that. And it's kind of like, no, that's like Mr. Burns doing shit on The Simpsons. It's like, no, this is like something Bill Gates actually was floating out there, and there's no law about it because no lawmaker ever thought like, oh, I better put this on the books that nobody can fly a plane and shoot powder in the clouds and whatever. So okay, so back to the sandwich story. on my Facebook feed.
Can you imagine? Hold on. Can you imagine going in for a job interview and the interviewer says, "So how'd you get fired from your last job?" And your answer is, "I threw a sandwich at a cop."
Well, okay, so I like to blast the boomers whenever I get a chance. So here we go. That kind of hippie shit was so romanticized for decades. If there was like, the girl putting the flower in the gun barrel of the National Guard, she probably would have been fucking arrested for that. Throwing rocks and whatever at the cops who were
Oh,
tear
he got caught.
gassing.
They caught him.
What guy?
The
Who?
guy that was throwing the rocks at the ice fans in California.
No, I don't mean now. I
Oh
mean
yeah,
like
you mean in
all
general?
that black and
Yeah.
white footage from the '60s where you see young people versus the cops or the National Guard or whatever, and the hippies are throwing rocks and the National Guard's tear gas. Those images have been so romanticized for decades, and then they play like cool rock music and it was a time of
Times they are
rebellion.
changing.
Yeah, right. All that stuff. It's been an indoctrination for, I don't know, for 50 years, let's say. And so that's where a lot of this stuff is coming from. It's like, oh, you see an authority figure with like body armor and a baton or whatever. You got to throw shit at them. And it's like, well, why are you throwing shit at them? What are they doing? It's an authority figure with a baton. I throw shit at him because I've seen the video. Diva was telling a story about how they were touring Japan and they have a video called "Comeback Johnny" and it's them on a sound stage in Hollywood, uh, just lip syncing the song, and they brought all their friends in to be in the audience. And for the second take, they said it was really hot in there and people were getting agitated and people were pogo dancing and slam dancing, and then a bunch of people got shoved off stage, and they just tore the place apart. They tore the set apart. The band didn't stop playing, but and he said you could see it right there in the video. They're taking apart the props and everything. And so they said they toured Japan, and like they were shocked because the audiences would literally stay in their seats and applaud politely between songs. And he says, but then they played and back then they were like one of the first bands to play music videos before the show. And so they played the Comeback to Do, and they had to shut down the show because the Japanese just all of a sudden got up and had a riot because they had been primed for that. So now kind of like any authority figure with a baton and body armor, it's kind of like, it's like your right and your duty to throw shit at them, whether it's a sandwich or a rock, or Antifa happens to provide you with some bricks or so. My the reason I ask all this, and I'm sorry, Adventures in Trump, this isn't really Trump land so much anymore. It's just kind of like it could tie into Mulcher's book about Judge Dredd and policing and all that too. So my Facebook feed lately, in addition to adorable videos and guinea pigs and possums and squirrels, then it'll pop up like an ice raid video will pop up, and there'll be like somebody's cell phone footage of, it's almost never news footage, somebody's cell phone footage of the van pulls up, they get out, then a bunch of people start swarming around them and yelling shit. And I don't know who or what they're raiding or why, and I don't think anybody involved with the yelling or the gathering around, because it looks like they're just like people see a van pull up and these guys get out and they just like mosey on over and start saying shit because it's their duty to. They've been prepped and primed to do that whenever they see that kind of thing. So I didn't do deep dive research because you can't always trust it, and it takes like three especially with AI, if it's something the AI doesn't want you to know, you have to know all the tricks to work around and get what you want it to say or what you are trying to get it to say. So I asked, like, what's the ratio of people? Because so going back to the first raids, it was my understanding that they were targeting gang members. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
targeting gang members and criminals.
Right. So and let's take this off the table now. Let's take the language off the table. When we say that, we don't mean you. I know you have your beliefs, but I'm just for the benefit of our listener. When we say criminal, it isn't you're the criminal because you've illegally you've broken a law by being here in the United States without documentation. This is like fucking murder, drugs, human trafficking,
rape, child molestation.
The big ones, not just shoplifting or raiding Target or whatever.
Right.
The big ones that there's no dancing around that this is a criminal act, okay? So those were the ones that they were after, yes?
Yep.
Okay. And they had some kind of proof and they had some kind of, Yeah,
they had warrants.
There's fucking cameras everywhere. That's the thing with Sandwich Guy. There's fucking cameras everywhere now. So if you threw a rock at a soldier or a cop or whatever back in the 60s, there's like maybe some grainy footage somewhere of you doing it that maybe it's you, maybe it's not, who knows. But like now there's it's going to be caught on camera somewhere. Someone's cell footage may even get it, and I'm sure they can access that if they wanted to. So it's stupid to keep doing that shit. It doesn't solve or settle anything except get you into jail. So anyway, I asked the ChatGPT, like, what's the ratio of people? Lately, like, there was the first batch of raids that lasted, I don't know how long. You said it was going to go through May, right?
Oh, they're gonna keep on doing it.
But didn't you say that there was like a stopping period where they were going to?
That was just with Doge. That was just with Doge. When Elon got in, he was gonna. I mean, he was supposed to be done in May.
Okay, so I conflated two things. So and hey, Flint, I was wrong. Put it on your calendar. So they're doing these ongoing raids. I don't know how many they're doing. I don't know, like, if it's a daily thing or a weekly thing or if there's a regularity to it or whatever. But I've got coworkers that are making it sound like, oh, they're down there every day. There was like 3 or 4 businesses we went into, laughably. So there's this hipster bookstore called the Soap Plant. It's off of Hollywood. Is it on Hollywood Boulevard? It's kind of like in that Hollywood, Vermont Avenue, Sunset nexus. It's in the very cool part of town. It's a hip. They've got a big bookstore with all this heavily curated hipster stuff. Hipster toys, Japanese import toys, stationery. In the back, there's an art gallery, and pretty much everybody who's ever been in High Fructose magazine or Juxtapose has had artwork in that gallery at some point. So they had a sign on the door that said, handwritten sign that says "No ice, welcome here." And I'm looking at it like, okay, so you've got like hipster cool Day of the Dead stuff and some Lucha Libre tchotchkes and that. I don't think ICE is going to bother to raid your store because you've got a few little Mexican things in here and some cookbooks and some Frida Kahlo.
And even if you're putting a ice on there, that doesn't mean anything.
It means that everybody knows, like, ooh, you're down against the man. So I looked at, by the way, I gave John my little red card that tells you what to say if ICE tries to pick you up. So he won't be deported between here and Arizona. So this is getting way too long. So I looked it up on ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT, what's the ratio of people who are like actual gang criminals and people that are, that are committing a crime just by being here in the United States. And it said, ChatGPT said 63% were dangerous murderers, drug dealers, human traffickers, and 43% were not reportedly not here with documentation and therefore illegal. And so I was thinking like, okay, I can understand why that seems upsetting, but if there were people if there was like 100% of people, if there was this 100% of whatever number that was driving around LA that didn't have car insurance, and 63% of them were driving stolen cars and smashing into shit and causing fires and damage and death. And then there was this other 43% that didn't have car insurance and, was just driving around without car insurance. If wouldn't it be worth saving the lives of people that would be involved in these accidents, or just if you were in a car accident from one of these people that was just like smashing shit up and all that and had no insurance, and it's like, well, I've completely lost my car now. Yeah. So anyway, there were people that people who had comorbidities, and then there's all these hot topics that you have to say like all the words, and where you say like, oh, and it's a tragedy that they died, and blah blah blah, and it's like, yes, I do believe that, but we've all said those words every time the topic comes up, so I'm just going to shorten by saying and all the words. And so the argument became, well, if you could save just one life, wouldn't you? And that therefore everybody masks up, everybody takes a jab, everybody blah 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 blah. And so to me it's like, okay, well, using that logic, maybe we should shut down all the amusement parks, get rid of all of those jobs, because people do die when there's an accident at an amusement park. And maybe we should just lower the speed limit to 10 miles per hour, because people die in the highway in cars.
People don't obey the speed limit.
Well, even 55, people will still get in an accident and people will die. Or we could just like not sell alcohol at the gas stations where you buy your gas for the car. But I'm sure the alcohol companies would just love that and say, yes, you're right, let's not sell our product at every gas station where you buy gas for your car. All of those things would save lives. They'd save far, far more lives than anybody, than everybody taking a jab and wearing a mask. But nobody fought for those causes. Nobody even like brought them up in a public square, as far as I know. And the same, it seems like the same thing with ICE. Like if you could get that many really fucking deadly murderers off the street, and send them back, versus, and like you were saying, and going back to what you were saying, Flint, and the way the media handled it, the fact that I had to resort to artificial intelligence to at least get a plausible number of what the ratio of that would be, and a non-emotional, with no emotions or strings attached or whatever. And I don't even know if those numbers, I can't verify if those numbers are accurate, but that sounds plausible, the 6340, whatever.
I think it might be higher than that.
Higher on the gang side?
Yeah.
I know. I mean,
I think it's more like 80-20. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. When he ran for office the second time, he said he was going after the bad guys first. He didn't say he wasn't going after the others. He didn't
Well,
say he was going to leave them alone. He said he wants everybody in the country that's here illegally gone.
right. So here's
It's
the
just that
which circles back.
he wanted the criminals done first.
Right, which circles back to the language and the political stancing and the virtue signaling and everything else. It's kind of like, okay, so they're calling the 43% like collateral. Um,
Well,
and
it's like for example, if ICE knows that there's a criminal waiting outside Home Depot, that the guy's wanted,
right,
there's a warrant for him, or he's wanted for just say drug trafficking or human trafficking, and he's there with 10 other people, and
right,
those 10 other people, they broke the law by coming into the country illegally, but they haven't committed crimes, as in
hmm,
rape, murder, robbery, blah blah blah. When ICE shows up and they arrest that guy amongst a crowd of 10, they have to do their due diligence and find out if the other 10 are in the country legally or illegally, and if because they're rounded up with the one guy. So, and if they're in the country illegally, they get sent home.
right. And because of the way Trump talks, they'll be like, you say like, okay, well, even if you're the, what's the name of that woman who looks like she's had a lot of surgery and filters, but you put those together, she looks pretty. What's her name? Like something Noam,
Christy Nome.
you know? Yeah. So, so there's
It
a
took a
commercial.
while there.
Yeah, but you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? It's like when she looks pretty, and then without all that, she looks kind of harsh. But she's got a commercial that comes on. I'm too cheap to pay for the YouTube without commercials, so I get the one about the car accident that isn't your fault, and I get her videos about deporting people because I watch Spanish language music videos, I suppose. So she has about being deported, and if you self
Self
deport,
deport.
you can come back, and if not, then you're SOL. They're coming back.
No, they self deported. They said, well,
Oh, okay.
yeah, if we leave the country now, we might have a chance of getting back in legally.
Okay. So, I mean, so that is working to a degree. I don't know to what that portion or percentage means. I don't know. But um, what I'm getting at is whenever the people talk, whenever people like her and Trump and all that talk about things that are like taking some personal responsibility, that sounds like Fox News shit to the people on the right side of history, and it's like, no, they should have no personal responsibility. So if you're working at a Home Depot, if you're standing outside of a Home Depot, and some of those people are like out there all day, and if you have a casual conversation with the people you're sitting with, and you find out that like three of your 10 guys are gang members and they've got tattoos on their faces and shit, maybe you don't want to be hanging out in front of the Home Depot, right? So, or if you find out like the car wash you're working at, like 4 out of the 5 guys are gang members, maybe you do something that separates yourself. Yes, maybe you have to quit your job, maybe, and that's not going to be easy and all that kind of thing. But it's kind of like you don't want to be caught up if and when that day happens. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
also the people that hire um, people in the country illegally should have a book thrown at them as well. I'll give you an
Right.
example. I was I every nearly every Tuesday, every second or third Tuesday, I go down to a lounge, a bar near me, a local hole in the wall, like a dive bar,
Hmm.
and I see a friend of mine, Randy, there. Randy's an older guy, and
Yeah.
he was the best friend of the guy that lived next door who passed away a couple of years ago. and they would go down to the bar every Tuesday around noon. And I said, well, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? He's probably lonely, so and he knows me, so I'll just go down and keep him a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of company for an hour, you know.
Yeah.
And Ralph was telling me that he was laughing because there was a taco stand in one of the parking lots, and
Mm-hmm.
ICE raided it, right?
Uh-huh.
And of course, everybody that worked in the taco place was there illegally. But
Right.
the problem is that the guy who owned the taco stand, they went after him as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they went to his home, and it turns out he's in the country illegally too. But
Mm.
he had this big mansion, a good bit of land, and on the land he had mobile homes or caravans, and in the caravans were people that were in the country illegally. So he was actually having his own little workforce living on his own plot of land.
Wow. He's
Yeah,
like a baron or
yeah,
something.
yeah, like a slumlord. And I'm sure he
Dang.
was taking advantage of them too. And so
Right.
he got caught, and now his wife is legal, but he's illegal. So he got caught, and I don't know, they're going to charge him with different things like human trafficking or blah blah blah. But the funny thing is that Ralph said, well, not funny, but the thing is, Ralph said to me, he said, you know, what's interesting is that the taco truck, somebody else came and got it, and now they're
Mm-hmm.
running the taco truck. And he said he's sure, nearly 100%, that they're not in the country legally either. And and the problem is that they've got the taco truck on the land owned by this other guy, and the guy's getting cash. Said, oh, you can rent the land here to
Mm-hmm.
you can rent it. Just give me cash because that way there's no paper trail. But if he gets caught and he owns a few bars, and if the guy who gave them permission to do that on his land to run the taco shop, or whatever, if he gets caught, he is fucked because I guarantee you he's been cooking the books when it comes to his bars as well, the bars that he owns. So,
Right.
so it's like, uh,
Well, there is
it's
this
kind of
whole
tough one because you want to have a bit of empathy where you have people that want to come in the country, want to have a better life,
right.
but they didn't do things legally, right? And they're not refugees, and they're not, getting
Right.
that kind of status that you have to do to, to get a court hearing and all that kind of stuff. And and so there are people like a couple of people that have been here
Yes.
for 20, 30 years or whatever, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they pay their taxes now. The thing is, they're obviously using other people's social security numbers, or dead people's social security numbers to pay taxes, but they don't commit crimes. They're not going out robbing places. They're not going out doing this and that. So you do have a little bit of empathy for them, but my empathy gets thrown out the window when I see them fly flags from foreign countries and not the American flag. You're America first. You're everything else second. And so
Right.
that's what gets me. So when I saw the protests in L.A., where they're all carrying, like, I think there's Guatemalan flags, Peruvian flags, Mexican flags, that sends the wrong message. And I think the people organizing those marches told them to get rid of those flags and just fly American ones because the optics are really bad. So
Well, the that woman on YouTube, Carolyn Borisenko, she actually she has a channel that she just started called Decode the Left, and they're more like the little reels, short videos. So if her live streams are too long, uh,
you can watch the
and
snippets.
they're too long for unless you work in a really lefty industry and you want to know like what the realist story is uh, about the stuff going on around you. Um, you might just want to watch the Decode the Left little short reels because they're informative and tell you what you need to know. But I mean, she has zero tolerance for the Fox News talking points or the right wing influencers on X, because they get it wrong. And a lot of the flying of the Mexican flag and all that kind of thing, that was an Antifa thing, and her big concern is that the Communist Party and what she calls the queer Marxist. Queer has nothing to do with being gay or your sexuality. It's a political thing. She says around the 90s, the meaning of the word changed. And she says, you got your Democrat gays. She calls them the Democrat gays. They're the ones who just want to get married and have families
Yeah, they don't want to, but they want
and
to just live their lives.
live the American dream.
Hmm.
Cool. Almost, even people who were staunchly on the right, as long as they, you know, just live their best lives and keep out of everyone else's business, most people are cool with them. And then there's the queer Marxists, which is they're kind of like Antifa adjacent, and they just want to burn down the whole system.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
they've
have a
infiltrated the groups and made them extreme. I mean,
right.
there's a friend of mine, and he's gay. You know, here we go. I've got
Mm-hmm.
that one gay friend, and
Well, they're only like a small percentage of the population.
that's
So
right.
if you have 10 friends and one of them's gay, that's about right.
But even worse, the poor guy's a Republican. So
Okay.
he's like a unicorn. Like I said, you're like a unicorn. You're conservative and you're Republican. And he says, well, because they hijacked the LGBT movement and stuff like that, they radicalized it. That he felt like going back into the closet.
Mm-hmm.
That it was so bad. He's okay now, but it got at times it was so bad that he felt like not telling anybody he was gay. You know.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
But as far as people coming in the country illegally and stuff like that is part of me. I do have see because I went through the system, went through everything else. There's a hard part of me that says no. I don't care how long you've been here. I don't care if you've got kids, grandkids, blah blah blah. You broke the law. Get out, right? But there is another part of me that says, well,
Which
there should be some kind of concession made because they, even though they broke the law coming into the country illegally, they haven't committed crimes. So how do we manage that? And I think I don't know what the solution is, but I know that other countries wouldn't put up the crap that the U.S. does.
right. And well, you brought up a point that I didn't even really think about until you said it right now. Like once they're here, they kind of like operate in this sort of lawless ecosystem because they don't want to get caught.
Well, it's a dark
So it's
economy.
kind
You
of
know what they
like,
call it?
what's that?
Like a dark economy. Like there's an underbelly.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like I get paid cash under the table, and I'm using another social security number, and like you could stack up like these like misdemeanors that they're committing just to stay here. But you start once you got your social security card, fake driver's license, you're getting paid cash under the table, not paying taxes. That can add up to like a dozen misdemeanors, and all you're doing is trying to live your best life. So I do have compassion for the trying to live your best life, but there's also,
Well, there's consequences, Um,
well, once you let the little crimes in, what happens next? You
yeah.
know,
So that there's kind
and
of some kind
then
of
that opens the door for being taken advantage of because nobody wants to report the guy who's got the slumlord land. That guy
yeah.
gets away with it.
Oh yeah, it's like having somebody work your land, and then I'm going to give you like just say $10 an hour to work the land. And
Mm-hmm.
the guy works 8 hours, and so the boss turns around and says, "Oh, I'm only going to give you 50." You can't
Right.
complain. You can't complain because all you have to say you're in the country illegally. You can do about it.
It's exactly like the pimp and hoe economy. It's like the pimps are going to take whatever percentage they want, and the hoes can't say anything because what are they going to? They're going to end up in jail along with the pimps if anything. Blah blah blah. So what are you going to do? But
Yeah, the tough one.
yeah, but I mean that's why I use the car insurance thing because it's like not everybody can afford car insurance. I can't afford car insurance. So I don't have a car. So it's like not everybody
But
can
it's
afford car
because of
insurance. Not
people.
everybody.
But it's also because of people that don't have car insurance that your car insurance goes up.
Right,
So
right.
it's like,
And
what the hell?
let's double it up. Let's say car insurance and a license. So you got this like 100% of people driving around killing people, crashing into fire hydrants, crashing into store windows and all that. Um, those people are doing it by accident. There's some people who are doing it like maliciously while they're committing other crimes. and they have no insurance and all that. And it's kind of like, well, I have to shut down my livelihood business because a car came flying through the window while they were being chased by the police, and that guy had no insurance, and I can't afford to replace the window and all the shit that was destroyed.
There was
That's kind of...
do you remember the Haitians? Where was it? Where Trump says they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs.
Yeah, right.
They were in that city. They were handing out driver's license to all the Haitians, and
was that ever proven, the cat and dog thing, or did that?
there was
Again, I can't trust the media.
People did come out in their meetings, their public meetings, saying, "Hey, look, there's dogs disappearing, there's cats disappearing."
Yeah,
it was highly implied that that's what was happening. And the thing is, go ahead.
Yeah, that's where it came from, but nobody ever followed up and like.
Oh, there were testimony from people saying that dogs and cats and even geese were missing from the local ponds.
But again, those people came across as rednecks, and the media can't stand those kind of people.
Oh, right,
so
because
they're
uneducated.
No credence or voice.
Yeah. They're plumbers and their welders. They don't know what they're talking about.
People who work the land. Oh my gosh. How goes?
Anyway, they were handing out tons of licenses to Haitians, and all the accidents in the area went up like 200-fold or something. And all I'm imagining is, I don't know if you ever played a video game, Destruction Derby.
No.
The whole is a game from the
90s.
Yeah, the whole goal is just to smash shit up with like 20 or 30 cars. So imagine the streets of that city being like that, and I'm just in tears laughing at it, like just a comedy show.
I used to have, I didn't play that, but I had the analog version, which they had these like, I think they were called like STP or TTP, and they were like cars. I guess the cars were like 10 inches or whatever. They're plastic cars, and they had a ripcord, plastic ripcord. You put it in there, pull it out, and there was like one wheel. The car actually ran on one wheel, and then it had a little button in the front, so it would hit the other car, and the plastic doors and the hood would fly off. Yeah. They looked like they had been beat up, dented in a demolition derby. So I had those, and so it's kind of like, it's fun when you're a kid playing that shit. But I mean, you don't want to live downtown where that shit's going to happen, and especially if that shit happened in downtown LA, where there's like no room, and there's already people lying on the streets and all that, and you've got cars jumping the curb and doing shit. So when you're talking about going back to, I'm going to do a weave and wrap it up.
The weave.
When you're talking about hating the media, the reason why I ask all of these questions is because when they first started the raids, and it was mostly, I think the ratio was way higher as far as like.
You mean you didn't think the Marlon man with his nice little family was a gang member?
So I was going to bring up the Maryland man. So for the benefit of our listener, there was one guy that they called the Maryland man, and it had this. It's a perfect media. It sounded like it should be a perfect media thing, because Maryland's not one of the border states like California or Arizona, or one of the ones where there's like lots of people.
Yeah, but that's changed over the years, Rossy. That changed from Trump's first term. When
I know.
Trump's first term came about, and there was going to crack down on illegal immigration. All the illegal immigrants spread throughout the country. I mean, you can go to Utah now and see some great Mexican restaurants.
Oh yeah, no. But I mean, like the basic, like when you say California, Arizona, or Texas,
you expect that.
It's like instantly, it's like, sure, it might as well be Mexico, right? But when you say like Maryland, it's like, oh, it's one of the original colonies. It's like an East Coast state. That's where that's where most of the white people still are, and maybe some black people, if we're talking about like Baltimore. But so it's like, oh, Maryland man. It's like, and he's got a family. He's got this wife, and he's got this disabled I think it's a neurodivergent kid, and he's taking care of him, and blah 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 blah. And so I asked some questions, and it's kind of like, well, was he born in Maryland? No, he was there. He was there undocumented, therefore illegally. Oh, and so was his wife a citizen? Well, his wife had put out a restraining order against him because he beat her.
More than once. I
he
think
was
there was two of them.
He was, huh?
I think there was 2 restraining orders.
Yeah. He beat her, and they were afraid of him. Her and the neurodivergent kid, and I think he was a bit of a deadbeat too. But I think just the restraining orders is enough. I don't even have to like guess that it was even worse. That's enough. But wait, it's like, so
there's more.
But wait, there's more. So was he driving down the street? Because this is all stuff that like they're implying in the way that they're covering it. And it's like, so was he driving down the street, and then the ICE van pulls up and at a red light, and the guys get out and drag him out of his car in front of his family at gunpoint and haul him off to whatever? They're like, no, he was, well, what? So was he, was he even a gang member? It's like, well, he wasn't in the gang that they were targeting.
He was in a different gang, a rival gang, I think.
Was it M13 or MI? What was There's different.
It was the Rossy 11.
Right. So he was in. That would be us at the Denny's, because at one point there was like about a dozen of us.
Instead of having the tear tattooed near your eye, Rossy, you have a taco for your Guinness.
Right. Yes. They have a little energy dome and
there you go, energy dome, little tattoo to show that you're a killer.
Right. Shit, where was I going? Yeah, so he wasn't in the gang that they had been targeting, but he was in another gang. And I think one of the other loopholes was he wasn't from whatever country the most of those gang members were from. He was from like the other country. And so when they shipped him off with all the other guys to this prison that was in that Venezuela or whatever that was taking him, it's like, well, he didn't belong there. He was actually should have gone to Mexico or all this like loophole stuff. And it's kind of like, and then they were going to go like into that prison to get him out. And it's like,
it's all theater kid stuff by the Democrats because they got nothing.
Yeah. I mean, there's my taxpayer money at work to pay to rescue some guy who's not a U.S. citizen and was doing shit here.
The latest one now, that was the Maryland man. The latest one now is Moped Man. You heard this one?
Oh, well, let me finish Maryland Man. So the punchline, to me, the punchline for Maryland Man was that he was in a car with other gang members on his way to do human trafficking when they picked. Now, again, this could all be government propaganda. Maybe the government's lying. Maybe the reports are, maybe even those reports are kind of wonky. But it's like you've got the side that's implying very heavily that it's like this family man from Maryland that was unjustly, like, even his existence there was even questioned. And then you got this other side that, all I need to know is, was he a gang member? Yes or no? Was he undocumented? Yes or no? Had he committed crimes in the United States? Yes or no? If so, if 2 out of 3, send him back. That's what I need to know. So, and it's so hard to even get a straight answer.
Well, it's
just out of those 2 out of 3.
Yeah, the media in this country, you just can't hate them enough. For example, here's the one, the Moped Man, right? This is from Politico. Is reported the other day. Yesterday morning, just off the 14th Street, a group of masked law enforcement officers arrested a moped driver. Onlookers stood near a coffee shop and the entrance to a luxury condo building, recording the altercation on her phone. Shouts from the crowd that the officers, whose vests read simply police, identified the agency which they're affiliated, were dismissed. Do I have to answer to you? One officer barked back, his questions rhetorical. You've got to answer to somebody, yelled a pedestrian. The officer never identified themselves, never provided their badge numbers, never revealed their agency. They took the moped driver into an unmarked SUV and spirited him off, destination unknown. A block away, the weekend brunch service at La Diplomat continued without interruption. Welcome to the first weekend of President Donald Trump's crackdown on Washington, D.C., which, serious as it has been, is just a prelude that things could quickly get much more intense. Now, when you read this, you think they were just pulling normal, everyday people off the street, right? And whisking them
Yeah,
away. But here's the true
let's
story.
cue the block war music from Judge Dredd.
This is from Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary. It said if Politico had reached out to the White House for comment before publishing, we could have provided them with some facts. The moped driver was an illegal alien criminal from Venezuela with gang affiliation, and there was an active final order removal from the country. Upon his arrest, the illegal alien criminal resisted arrest, and a law enforcement officer suffered a concussion as a result. So this is how they spin everything, the news. They kind of like, oh, they just took the moped driver. Oh, my God, you could be next. This kind of bullshit. Drives me crazy.
Well, okay, so two more things to that. Again, like, I don't know, but I'm going to assume that they only have to tell the guy that they're picking up their name or their badge or whatever.
Yeah, they don't have to answer to the public unless they're interacting with you, unless they're talking to you and asking you to move on or stuff like that. And, you know, I don't believe the reporter anyways.
Right, but I mean,
because the police officer could have given his name, rank, and whatever, and everything else, but the reporter just left that out.
Well, let's give the half truth to, you know, enough credence to make it true or false or whatever. So he doesn't have to tell the person holding the phone and recording it where it's going to go on the internet where thousands, if not millions, of people may see
and
it.
It'll get doxxed.
He doesn't have to give his name and badge number, partially because there are psychos out there now that would target him, his house, and his family if they found out who he was and where he lived, which is partially why they wear masks, also to protect themselves against the other gang members that they haven't gotten to yet.
Well, that's why Kristi Noem doesn't live in a residence anymore. She lives in a secure site for her family because of all this stuff that's going on.
Yeah, and it's if you know anything about the way the cartels operate in Mexico, that's why the Mexican police and army wear masks, because they're afraid that the cartels will target their families and everything. Those cartels do not fuck around, and compared to as scary as masked men coming out of a van and picking up people at a car wash might look here, that is child's play compared to what the cartels will do to you in the middle of the night. I mean, if you're not a fan of your hands, feet, and head, keep talking the way you're talking. But I mean, I personally don't want to be hung from a freeway overpass for pissing off a cartel guy. So anyway, I think what was that, like an hour of adventures in trouble? Thanks for the world's longest
we're starting the world's problems out one day at a time, Rossy.
Well, this is like this is the bar, hanging out at the bar with the sad drunks.
Yeah, that's it.
Except I'm a cheerful, caffeinated guy right now. So,
well, talking about Adventures in Trouble, how did John get on?
Good. I think we did everything they wanted to do. It was okay. So this is my observation. I'm going to leave it like wide open for him to tell his side of things. So I don't know what the flight. Well, he said the flight was good, but customs took forever, and I met them at my work. And then we went to eat at the Earth Cafe, which is URTH because it's real fancy schmancy. And
so when you met you at work, did he sneak up on you, or what did he do?
No. He was the store wasn't open yet, and in typical me fashion, he had said meet him outside front of the newsstand, and I was like in the back saying like, "Where are you?" So, well. He mentioned it once. Okay, so he mentioned it once, and when I crossed the street to get to the bookstore side of the street, you can see the newsstand very clear as day, and I did not see him there because I kind of half remembered him saying, like, meet him out front, and I didn't see him there, but there is a wall that I think they were standing in front of the mural that you can't see the front of the store. There's like a part of the front of the store you can't see because of that wall that's got the mural. I think that's what was happening. So anyway, it was 75% my fault on this one. So
John will, you know what John will say? It's 100% your fault.
yeah, well, it was an understandable mistake. I'll call it, and I'll even give him that. So apparently he'd never seen a Tesla Cybertruck up close, and there were a couple of them parked. So he went and got himself up close and personal with those, and took a. I don't know if he posted that picture online because
I don't think. Yeah, I don't. I think it's because the UK government they charge so much tax. If you were to have a Cybertruck in the UK, that's not worth buying.
Yeah, and he's in a pretty rural part of town, so probably fewer cars even to choose from. So we went to the Earth Cafe. It was lovely. They had a Mexican omelet, which again, because it is what it is, it's about as Mexican as I am. And, but it was big and filling. So we waddled back. So we had about 15 minutes before the store opened, and on the corner of that block, I'm sure you have something like it, and I'm sure you have an even bigger one like it, but you must call it something else. Do you have like Bevmo or one of those liquor supermarkets?
We have Bevmo here in Total Beer and Wine.
I think that's what the store was a Total Beer and Wine. So it's it's about the size, for the sake of our British listener, like British supermarkets. We had what was that chain you guys had for a while? It's Fresh and Easy or something like that?
Yeah.
We had one of those, but it was like much smaller than it was like a Trader Joe's smaller supermarket.
Oh, wow.
So
that's tiny.
For me to say compared to a British supermarket is probably not an accurate picture of the size. So I'm going to say it's about the size of a warehouse. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
For yours? Okay. So we have a Total Wine store, which is like the size of a warehouse. And I said, "Oh, we can kill 15 minutes." And,
I guarantee you, they probably don't have alcohol stores like that in the UK that are that big.
They had never seen anything like it, so they had a great time looking at the gin, and they had a few things they were thinking about bringing to you, and they were astounded by the prices. And the manager of the store came up and
how cheap
asked
everything
if everything
was.
was okay. Huh?
They're probably astounded by how inexpensive everything was.
Oh yeah. So, but the manager of the store was very, very friendly and had a little chat about them being, the difference between what they were used to and what they had, and they have that one case that's like locked up because the drinks in there, like the bottles are like $1,000, several $100s.
I would have had so much fun with John there when he said, "Oh, look how inexpensive this are." I said, "Well, this is the benefit from being the number one country in the world that saved your ass in 2 world wars."
Well, they were talking. See, I was the wrong person to be with them for that. I kind of left them to their own devices because I've only been in there twice, and it was to use the bathroom. But I walked through and I was like, I don't know what I'm looking at, but I do know that this is impressive. The selection is like insane, like any kind of hoot you can imagine, and the packaging is impressive. They have like tequilas that are like, the bottle's shaped like a skull.
Oh, I usually when I go into Total Beer and Wine, I look at the independent brewers because they have some very creative packaging on their cans.
Yes, I will. Again, it's like I would be attracted to that, but I would never drink the stuff inside of it. Yeah. So that was a good 10 or 15 minutes killed, and we went into Romans, and John said, Kaz wanted to buy a book, and I was like, I hate to lose the sale, but the hassle of you trying to fit that in your luggage and carry it back, and maybe having to pay duty tax or whatever, it's kind of not worth it. But thanks for the effort. So we went upstairs. They met my boss.
Well, if she bought a paperback, she would have been fine.
Yeah, but
I don't think they charge anything in customs for stuff like that.
there really wasn't like that much time for shopping.
Oh,
So, and if you're buying a book, so to skip to the end, it's like, what does Mr. Steve do on his day off? He takes his friends to 3 bookstores. So-
did he do the Lauren Hardy stairs thing?
No, and we didn't. Okay, just skip to that part. In case you're eager to get to those parts, we didn't do the Billy Idol house, and we didn't do the Laurel and Hardy stairs. It's what 100%. It was, and my knees and feet were fucked up by the first leg of it. And luckily I had my workbook bag with me that had my arthritis painkiller drugs. So even having that, when we got back to the hotel room, I was able to do the second leg, and then like working the next day, I narked myself up a third time. And yesterday I was just kind of like, I got stuff to do, but I'm kind of hurting too bad to focus on it. So I'm going to just put up the old feetsies and drink a lot and get through it. So they went through Romans. They met my boss. They took the pictures with the cardboard cutout, which I had to bring out from the back room because it's not really displayed out there anymore. And then we took off for Hollywood Boulevard, and they were staying at a Quality Inn just off. It was right in between. It was do you know Hollywood Boulevard? When you were out here?
Yeah, I walked it once.
Just once?
Yeah, I'm pretty fuzzy.
Okay, so just to give our listener a little perspective, Hollywood Boulevard goes on for a long stretch through, parts of LA that aren't even Hollywood. But there's a chunk of it that starts with what they call the Four Ladies, which is like 4 silver statues of like Dorothy Dandridge, Anna Mae Wong, and I forgot who the other 2 were. One of them might be Marilyn
And there's
Monroe.
a special button on one of them. That
Oh,
when
is?
when you press the button, the center opens up and Harvey Weinstein pops out.
Yeah. well, so Hollywood Boulevard is a prime example of you can't have anything nice anymore, because right at the feet of the statues in the sidewalk are these little cups, which are clearly for putting flowers. But the homeless situation there is so bad now. There were no flowers, and you would not want to put flowers in those cups. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at least they didn't, at the time we got there.
I thought it was going to be worse, that they were using the cups to poop into.
No, I was going to say, yeah, it's like 2 homeless people in the cup. No, it was... It was... yeah, I was going to say, at least there wasn't that... I don't... you're telling a story about going up and down Hollywood Boulevard, and one of the things you have to think about is, did I see any fecal matter while I was walking around? No, but there was a lot of like water crossing the sidewalk, and you could tell and it was a very hot day, so it wasn't like, like maybe somebody had hosed down the sidewalk, or there was a leaky faucet somewhere or whatever. No, it wasn't any of those things. You could tell by the color and the smell. So so I told Kaz was wearing these flip-flops, and I was like,
oh no, really, she wore the wrong shoes.
Yeah, you might really want to, but she was hip to it. Kaz was not fazed by anything. She's awesome. So we got to the hotel. Okay, so there's the 4 women on one end of the street, and about 2 miles, or probably like a dozen plus long blocks, is where the tourist part of it is. And then it kind of sort of ends where the Pantages Theater is, which is a famous place where they have plays and concerts. The Frolic Room, which you've seen the outside of it in dozens of movies, especially whenever they want to have a dive bar or a 1940s style noir thing. It's been in a Pussycat Dolls video. And across the street is Amoeba, which is like this gigantic CD, DVD, music media store. That's kind of where it ends. And so John being very systematic about everything, we walked down one side of it, the shady side. And, well, prior to that, so their hotel room was like just a couple of blocks away from the Jim Henson Company. So he wanted to walk down there and get the picture of the front of it. It looks like the exterior of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory from the Gene Wilder movie.
Yeah, it actually really does.
Yeah, and then directly across the street is a strip bar called Crazy Girls. There aren't that many strip bars around anymore, but the ones we have are still in Hollywood. And it said girls, girls, girls on the outside, and I'm like 90% sure that who did the song? Was it Van Halen, Motley Crue? One of those hair
big hair
bands.
bands.
Yeah, one of those hair bands from that area, and I'll get to that. So one of the hair bands from that area was I'm sure that's where they got the title for the song. And then this was fucking nuts. So almost right above that place, there's a billboard, and billboards in LA and Hollywood are not cheap. There was a billboard of one of my ex-coworkers for his YouTube channel. It's called The Last Talk Show. This guy like worked in receiving. He's a young black guy. He's very, very handsome, very talented guy. And when he left Romans, he was doing like this online talk show called The Last Talk Show. He bought himself like this kind of dopey wig and a cheap suit. And I'm like, how did he ever afford a billboard just off of Sunset in Hollywood? I mean, geez. So seeing his face up there blew my mind a little bit. And then just around the corner was another strip club called the Seven Veils. And then John wanted to get a picture across the street at this liquor store that had a mural painted of Guns N' Roses. So he and Kaz took turns taking pictures in front of that. It was really hot. We were thirsty. We went inside. We got something to drink. So I asked the guy, said, what's the story with the mural? And he says, oh, well, they used to shop here before they were famous. And the owner of the store liked them. So he had this other mural commissioned. And the artist went on to be kind of famous rock and roll style artist. But the artwork got tagged because you can't have anything nice in that neighborhood. And so they did it over, and they did it like more of a traditional. It looked, the other one didn't really look like them. It was a very stylized look, almost like a Jack Kirby-ish look. And this was more of a fancy, pretty portrait of them. So John got his photos. And then the other thing that we saw that I felt like a country bumpkin, because they have the little delivery carts, the remote control delivery carts going around there.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have those around here. We don't even have them in Pasadena that I've seen yet. But they look like those, I guess for our listener, if you've seen in movies, like the street vendors push the little carts around and they pull food out and sell it to you on the sidewalk. They look like that, except there's no human. They just go to your doorstep. And I'm like,
that's the future.
Whoever came up with that, though, I don't care how many cameras are all over the place or what detection systems they come with. Whoever came up with that is so clueless to what that neighborhood is like.
I'm sure those things have to work their way around poop on the sidewalk and everything.
I think there are so many people that are just like, their brains are fucking gone. And like, they would just kick that shit over just for fun and not even care if they got arrested or whatever the consequences are. So if you order something from that and it never shows up at your doorstep, it's kind of like then you also don't know what kind of neighborhood you're living in, because it was funny because there's so many people there with folded, just there were we one of them we had to squeeze ourselves in between a street-sized restaurant that was just folding tables, and somebody brought their barbecue grill and put a tent up and some folding chairs, and this little cart had to go between that and the wall, while separating the business, the business side of it. And it was going real slow, like you didn't know what to do.
To the self-moving carts, do they say stuff like, eat recycled food, it's good for you?
Well, how could we not, And they had a lot of John kept pointing out the self-driving cars too. We don't have those around here, even in Pasadena where I work. Pasadena is like a mid-sized city that wants to be Portland. I'm surprised you don't. Yeah, I mean, we
got them in Phoenix. We got them in Phoenix. Waymo operates in Phoenix.
There's a lot of things that if people, like if everybody around there was civic minded, they'd be cool. The little scooters, cool. The little carts, neat. That way you don't have to have like another car on the road delivering stuff to people's houses. But so we get to the hotel. So we get to the hotel, which is between Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset. And it's a pretty gnarly part of Sunset. Directly across the street is a shopping center that has a weed shop, a tattoo parlor, a bar, and another strip club. But I don't know if that strip club was still active. It looks like it had been... It's hard to tell with strip clubs because they always look so dead during the daytime. But the in front of the hotel, the ground in front of the hotel had like all this brickwork, and you could tell what kind of neighborhood it is because they painted over the brickwork with black paint and then splattered the whole thing with just random colors of paint to cover up the bird shit, the graffiti, the shit, the broken chips that were taken out of it, all the other things. So it's kind of like it looked chaotic because of all the splattered, this, who's the artist who does the splattered paint?
Pollock.
Ed Harris played him in a movie.
Yeah, I think it's Pollock, Jackson Pollock.
Yes, it looked like a Jackson Pollock painting on the ground. So they did that to cover up all the things that happened in that neighborhood because you can't have nice things. Even the staircases up to the next floors had that all over and it had like that. It was like a textured surface. So everything in that hotel was designed to cover up the damage done by people to the place, probably on a daily basis. And the room was nice, and for what they paid for it, it was a bargain. But it was still kind of like,
it's a quality inn, right?
It's the room you walk in, you go like, well, we're just going to sleep here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then we embarked on our journey down one side of Hollywood Boulevard. And did we see anything on that side? We were looking at the Walk of Fame, and we popped into the haunted Roosevelt Hotel. And so John asked the guy if he'd seen any the guard there, a big bald guy, like, have you seen any ghosts?
Have you seen any ghosts?
So I asked him, like, how long have you been working? You go, just a few months. And it was like, oh, all the good old timey ghosts have moved on, So, but it was that place, like somehow they're able to still keep it pretty nice looking in the lobby. And
when's he going back to you? Isn't he staying the night with you before he leaves?
Yeah, I think he said it was like the 28th.
Yeah.
So
the multitude of madness, Rossy's condo.
I think it's going to be. Look, so going back to the hotel
can't be worse than the quality. The quality.
Yeah, right. So that's I was going to say that's one advantage. So we
I'm sure you walked in there and said, my place is a fucking palace.
Well, it's a little it's a little, his hotel room's a little emptier than my place, but okay. So there was, and to be honest with you, I got to clean this place up, and I just have not been, for the past 3 weeks. Our boss, the manager of the store, has told us, like, because of this weird ChatGPT article our local news station did, it sounded like if you don't shop here, we're going to close. And so people have been shopping there. It's reminded people that we exist. And so we were doing
Wait
Christmas.
a minute, you think the news got it wrong?
It's on, the article's on Facebook, KTLA. We even posted it on our Facebook, reposted on our Facebook page. It's pieces of articles that have been
combined together
that have come out over the last few years,
yeah,
sort of knitted together and edited, and somehow tied into our clearance sale. And we were, during the clearance sale, we were mobbed every single day. And the boss said, even during previous clearance sales, we haven't, she says, this is like day after Thanksgiving numbers we're doing every day. So I would come home and I'd feel like my ass was kicked. And especially with the knees and feet, I hate to sound like a wuss, but because I was on my knees and feet 7 out of 8 hours, which someone with arthritis might not be your best way to.
There's a filthy joke there somewhere.
Day. So, well, even so, the aftermath of hanging out with John. So I've got an Apple Watch, right, and it's got the 3 rings. There's the red ring for movement, the blue ring for standing, and the green ring is for like how many steps you put in, how much walking you did. And I don't know what it's set for. I think it's set for 58-year-old man. And usually, like almost every day that I work at Vroman's, as I'm coming up the steps to my condo and opening the door to go home for the night, all 3 rings go like, bring, you've done it. You've successfully done it all. When I was with John, I closed the walking ring 3 times. So I did 3 times the suggested amount of walking for that day. And then what it doesn't say is, and in the heat. So, but going back to the hotel, so we're leaving the hotel room, and this skinny, shirtless black dude with jogging pants or sweatpants down comes like right around the corner, and Kaz is like in front and almost smacks into Kaz, and he looks like a cross between a dancer from Jesus Christ Superstar and somebody from Walking Dead and somebody who's like out of their mind on meth. And he gives us this red-eyed look like, and then just kind of like goes on. And Kaz does not even bat an eye. And she goes, oh, I deal with mentally ill people all the time, so this isn't anything I haven't seen before. And I'm like, oh my God. What a cucumber. So anyway, there's this story's going on a little long. So we got to Amoeba, which they didn't have anything John wanted. They had a Devo record box set for $114 that Shock of Shocks I didn't have, and I ended up not getting, because I don't really collect vinyl, and I had all the songs, I just didn't have them on. It was like one more collectible that I would probably never take the plastic off of. And then we went across the street. So across the street, this might be interesting to Pete and you, Flint. They had an alien Earth thing. There's an abandoned lot on the corner, and it's in John's pictures. And there was like I don't know how big it's supposed to be on the show, but let's say life-size mock-up of the alien perched on top of sort of like a freezer chamber safe type prop. And you could tell that the doors it looks like it's designed for the doors to open. and they had an active keypad like on a ATM. So I was pressing the buttons that the numbers had been the most worn off of, and I was trying to figure out, they had like little fake digital readouts over that, and I was trying to see like if you press those numbers, if the door would open or make a noise or whatever, and I couldn't get it to work. They had like three of them. The display was like the whole corner, and so they had like three of those vault safe things,
You
and
should have
so I tried
Googled it.
them. I have a feeling that if you did, there's probably like a QR code somewhere that if you could get them from, but I didn't. Yeah, it was kind of like getting to be hot, and I was looking for a place to sit, and so we did what we could. Couldn't get it to work. John got his photos. Popped into a coffee place to sit for a little bit. Saw three L. Ron Hubbard centers on Hollywood. There's the Scientology place. There's Galaxy Press, which is the Battlefield. There was a big window display for Battlefield Earth on that one. And the third one was the Lifetime Achievement Museum. Those are on Hollywood Boulevard. Saw those. And the other things might come to me as we saw the cheap ass. There's Madame Tussauds, which
Did you go into the knockoff one?
Well, there used to be two of them. There was the Ripley Museum,
Yeah.
and across the street from that was the Hollywood Wax Museum. And the Hollywood Wax Museum was like in tour books for being notoriously awful, because the figures don't look like what they're supposed to look like. Nobody's like watching them, so people would just jump over the velvet rope and have their picture taken in the displays. The House of Horrors part was pretty good, but we didn't go into those. And now they have two more that are like scammy, sort of like amusement park, house of big props. But I was like, you could tell from the outside, like, this place doesn't look very big. And even if it is a little bigger on the inside, or they really maximize the floor space, there can only be 7 things to look at. And so we looked at the sign, and it's like, yeah, there's only 7 things to look at. We didn't see any famous people. And that we saw out of shape Spider-Man wearing Crocs and a fanny pack. It was getting to be dark. It was the middle afternoon, and wasn't dark yet. And so the people that posed, there was some girl dressed like Catwoman who was talking out of shape Spider-Man, and he was waving some money around, like showing off what his tips had been or whatever. So that's what they do, is they pose for tips. But most of those, I mean, if you've ever been to even like a mediocre, like little mid-sized Comic-Con, those costumes are better than what they pose with you for tips on the street. So, and then I'll just finish it off saying, so we checked in at the hotel, cleaned up a little bit, and then we went to Vermont, which is like the trendier part of town. We saw the soap plant, Luz de Jesus Gallery, and Wacko, which is like one big shop. It used to be on Melrose, and I think you can see it in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. He goes into a version of that, but it's like one big one-story building. It's a fun emporium. Everything's they have a lot of the same books we have, but it's curated in such a way and displayed in such a way that's very cool. The art gallery is very juxtaposed, modern art, hipster stuff. That's the place that had the no ice sign, no ice officers welcome in the store sign out front. And then we went to Skylight Books, which it's kind of like, all the independent bookstores in this area are friendly with each other. But we'll recommend them to people like, hey, check out Skylight Books.
Yeah, you support each other.
We do, and yeah, we're all in the same boat is kind of our attitude. So Skylight, you've probably seen in movies and TV shows too, whenever somebody has to do a book reading or whatever, because it's in the heart of Hollywood. It's just up down the street from the Greek Theater. And also they've got a tree in the middle of the store, thus, which goes up to the Skylight, thus the name of the store. And then there's a shop in between, and then there's a little annex store, and that's where they keep the graphic novels, the art books, the movie and entertainment stuff as well. And the graphic kind of like, it's just like a wall of the top. The part of it, some of it's the same stuff that we have at our store, and then they've got a little table front and center where they've got like all the ugly modern art type of graphic novels, like like R. Crumb and Friends, that kind of thing. And then like Taschen, pretty much if you want to see the actual books from the entire Taschen catalog, you could just walk in there and there they are. You could pull one off the shelf.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of neat. So, and then John and I had chicken and waffles at this like 50s diner kind of place. So that's another one that's been in a lot of movies and whatever. So and then they took me home, and that was very fast, because when we got back to the car after and John's vehicle is called the Beast because it's like a giant Humvee. It's a Jeep. And we were so boxed in, there was literally a fist's worth of space.
Well, the wheels look as if they come
front.
out wider than they should.
No, that wasn't really that wasn't the issue. The issue was that the car in front and the car in back had boxed us in so tight that there was only like a fistful of space between them. And so John had us, Kaz was more useful than I was with this, but he got us the fuck out of there. It was amazing. If he hadn't been the professional driver that he is, we probably just would have had to stand there like idiots till somebody decided to come out. And that was an amazing display of skill. But anyway, the long and the short, to wrap up that thing, Hollywood Boulevard is very depressing now. If you're thinking of, when I went with my other friends from England, the first 2000 AD guy, the wife made a joke and said it was tacky, and that's where we heard the word tat used a lot for the first time. And it was the stores between the part I was talking about. At one point, there was a pretty good comic store, and one of the few places in this area where you could get imports of British stuff. So that's where we got like the Titan books, the Judge Dredd t-shirts, all that. That's one of the places I would if someone said they were going to Hollywood, I wanted to go because there I could pick up that stuff, and nowhere else except down on Melrose, there's Hollywood Boulevard, there's Sunset, there's a few other little streets, and then there's Melrose. So it's just a few miles away. There were two other comic stores that had like a good selection of British imports for comics, and just they were better than most of the comic stores out here in my area. So it was good for comic stores. There was a bookstore called Book City that was like 3 stores that had some the doorways were knocked out between the 3 stores, and it became like one giant used book emporium. Pickwick Books was there. There was a place called Hollywood Book and Poster that was the place where even the hoi polloi, the people who worked in the industry who were also movie geeks, that's where they went to get like movie posters, scripts, books about the entertainment industry. They were world famous. They were there. Even Fredericks of Hollywood is gone. So the only thing really left is Amoeba.
Wow, Fredericks of Hollywood is gone.
Yes, there were two or three other little stores, and I don't even know what the names of the business stores because I don't think they even had signs out front where you could get like the stripper, the knee high stripper boots with the huge high heels, like the Spice Girl kind of boots. You could get like faux bondagey type of wear, the black leather boots with little spikes on them and that kind of thing. So there was a Fredericks of Hollywood store that's actually pretty small and no better or worse than any of the other adult boutique shops, not the actual porn shops, but those like couples boutiques you see around. There was that. We went into that one and it was just kind of like, okay, whatever, you make one dildo joke, you've made them all. But everything else is like a vape store. There's an army surplus place that's been there
Weed
forever.
shop.
A lot of weed shops, or it's like a lot of that stuff incorporated into one place. So it's like rock and roll T-shirts that may or may not be licensed, weed supplies, tattoos, all in one place. Some liquor stores. Some of the stuff there, I will admit, it's been there for a long, long time. The Army Surplus store you can plainly see it in Savage Streets with Linda Blair, and I think it's in Valley Girl, the original Nick Cage version of it. Musso and Frank's, the famous Hollywood restaurant there, I think that will never close. Like the city will probably make it a landmark. Michelle's, which is a fancy Italian restaurant where the stars used to go to, that's still there, but it's not on the street. But in there used to be like more record stores and more bookstores and more some kitschy shop. There's like these gift emporiums that are like where you can get like fake Oscars and magnets and the usual gift tchotchkes. There's like a gigantic one that has like a convertible car in the middle of it and a Predator and one of those metalworked Terminator skeleton in there, and it just feels like before Hollywood Boulevard and I'm going to lump Melrose in, kind of sort of Sunset was always kind of more of a business street. Like as we went down Sunset for a little bit, and it's like, okay, so Amoeba used to be there and the Cinerama Dome was there, but also the Next offices are there and the Paramount offices are there, and like actual studios, places where they recorded stuff is still there. So it's not really like for tourists. But Hollywood Boulevard was always kind of like a mix of touristy stuff. But if you were into movie geek memorabilia, that's also where you went. So, and occasionally you'd get people who are in the industry, like, the Quentin Tarantino types who are also movie geeks. You'd run into them in those places too. But, or especially if they were like into music, curated music, you'd run into, but maybe you'd run into somebody in Amoeba. But if I was famous, I would just order off of Amoeba online at this point. At that, you don't even want to deal. The homeless thing is so bad, and it smells. The whole place smells like pee and or weed, and it's just a shame. And they try to do little historical things. There's little signs that say like, this building here was mentioned in the Raymond Chandler story, or this is where blah de blah happened. They have a vintage photo of it with the little text, but they have to have it like way up high.
So it can't
where
get damaged.
Like you need a ladder to protect it from damage. And there were people, and everything's a street hustle. It's just like folding tables lining the streets of people selling tat that's even shittier than the stuff you could buy in the shitty store across from them. and just costume jewelry, fake little miniature fake license plates with your name on, like stuff that I was like, hasn't this stuff just played out like decades ago? Because who really buys this? I didn't see anybody I saw people looking, but I didn't see anybody buying anything. And some of the stars on the Walk of Fame are in bad shape too. Like the little gold trim around the star, some of it was missing. Like people would steal the gold trim from someone's star. A lot of them you wouldn't even remember who the people were. Like even I was telling John and Kaz, like, oh, they were famous. They were mostly famous for being celebrity guests on a talk show or game show, that kind of thing. So yeah, Hollywood Boulevard. I don't care if I never go back there again. I've done it. I've entertained. We did it once when John and Sam came over. We did I did another time recently in the last year or so with my older friend who was like the first 2000 AD guy, and we did it with John and Kaz. And I'm like, I am Hollywood Boulevarded out. Oh, and the ultimate crime. There was one more thing. The worst thing that I saw on Hollywood Boulevard, and that I'm like, I really don't ever need to be here ever again in my life, is across the street from Amoeba. Is still there?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Okay, my screensaver just kicked in because I was ranting. Shit. Okay. The worst thing is they have a Funko Pop Emporium that's like fucking gigantic, and they have human-sized figures in the display windows of the characters that they're selling. Some of the characters they're selling inside, and I didn't go in it. I didn't even cross the street to get near it, but I just know it's there, and I'm like, ugh. So anyway, that's how touristy it is. Well, and I think that is it for the John experience.
Yeah,
have you seen anything?
It seems as if he wore you out.
No, they were great. Again, like I know John, I know from Comic-Con John's got a lot of stamina, but Kaz is in great shape and did everything without batting an eye. That wasn't the only homeless person who got a little too close. Yeah, it's gross. But she's just stepped over the water on the sidewalk and just kept on moving and didn't complain. It didn't. It got, by the time we got to that coffee shop, the heat and everything had gotten to all of us. But anyway, and the noise is amazing. And there was some dude who just he pulled his motorcycle up and did a wheelie right in the middle of the street of Hollywood Boulevard and started doing like donuts in the middle of this crowded ass main tourist thoroughfare. And we don't know why. There was some dude standing in front of the Amoeba store who had a boa constrictor wrapped around him. And he's like, hey, take a picture of my snake. You and my snake, take a picture. And I was like, everything was a hustle, and it was a dumb hustle. It wasn't like, also every fucking block somebody would offer you a tour bus. You get one of those, on one of those topless tour buses. So anyway, it's everything's a hustle. There's really not that much there to see unless you like L. Ron Hubbard a lot. And
right up your alley.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of it was by appointment only. One of them's the Scientology places. I mean, that's like for serious recruitment. So yeah, it's a shame, but it's also the way the world is. I mean, retail, like, there's really no reason for anybody to go down there. Oh, the other thing that they used to have there was video stores too. There was one of the video outlet. They had a video outlet that had some cool stuff. So yeah, I used to go down there and just spend money and add to the funeral pyre. But this was not one of those times. I don't think I even bought anything. Yeah, I didn't buy anything while I was there, so it was a pillar of self-restraint. And the thing of Amoeba too, like part of why is because like at Amoeba, I already have like almost everything I want, and the odds of me finding something that obscure at a place like Amoeba, it's not worth standing there for hours and hours and hours flipping through the bins, because the prices are just like, okay. If I was a millennial, if I was like 20, 30, maybe early 40s and wanted to experience something like what I would go through every weekend when my friends and I would hit the road and hit all the video stores and all the collectible places, Amoeba's probably like the last place you could do that. But otherwise, I'm like, but I kind of have some searches on eBay, and even then I'm not that serious about, like, it has to be super cheap. Right. I'm not that serious a collector anymore. So anyway.
All right. Have you got anything for Kickstarter Corner?
I got a notification that the Mexican guy's art book is coming, which I think I mentioned last time. Kendra Ben Dunn's Kendra book is out there. There's two books, one of which AP is not shilling that hard, and I don't know why. The one that the shilling hard is Ben's 200th issue of Ninja High School,
right?
Which it's going to be just a basic. I think it's a slightly longer issue of Ninja High School with a lot of fan art type stories. So it's going to be like the old Ninja High School yearbooks, but largely in color. And if you're not that interested in getting the super deluxe version off of Kickstarter, if you wait, you can still get a regular comic. I think it's being solicited now too. But the other thing that they've got going on Indiegogo is an actual book, and it's from what I've read of it, it's pretty well written about the history of Antarctic Press. And wow. The guy talked to Fred Perry, and he talked to Ben, and he talked to Joe, and he talked to a lot of the movers and shakers. And he's been I know the guy. I met the guy a few times. He's a really nice, smart guy. And that's translated into a pretty well-written book. And he's been a fan of AP stuff for... he's younger than me, so maybe not as long as I have, but he caught up, and he's quite the archivist. His personal collection of super rare Ben Dunn and Antarctic Press stuff is unparalleled. I sold him something because I was like, I would rather have you have it because I know it'll be taken care of, and it'll be put part of the history instead of me just having one. So that book is on Indiegogo. I have to remind myself to get a copy. And
he made the goal.
Yeah. I would like to see him get 100 backers, though.
How many pages is the book?
That I'm not exactly sure. I think because he submitted just like a PDF of text, and I think it was close to 100 pages of text, and AP's going through their archive to find the photos to illustrate everything. So I hope they do a good job. I mean,
yeah, they should have the page count, or at least a guess at the page count. I hate that with some of the Kickstarters. They don't have how many pages everything is.
This is I will verify that this is going to be a solid read.
Oh yeah, I can see it already.
Yeah, so hopefully they're going to break up that text with some really nice photos and all that. I don't know if they know what to do with it, because he this isn't going to sound good, but so he said this came from him. This was not commissioned by AP or whatever. He just wanted to tell their story and arrange to talk to people and blah blah blah. And he's been working on this for at least a few years, and I think he's going to supply some pictures of things from his collection, but he's leaning on them to illustrate everything else because theoretically they should have the best scans of everything.
Did you
And
know?
so,
Did you know on Indiegogo there's a Black Creek graphic novel by Cynthia Rothrock?
yes, there is, and there's the cover art that looks like her, and then there's the interior art, which, Ew. And I learned my lesson decades ago when Michael Golden, he of the Micronauts, if you notice there's no bell,
Yeah.
he did a Spartan X comic about Jackie Chan, and while reading, and I was like, all right, two things I like. And while reading, I was like, oh, this is kind of lame because you can draw Jackie Chan doing anything. The part of the excitement is just watching this crazy guy break his neck doing stunts and all that. So looking at drawn pictures that kind of sort of don't really look like Cynthia Rothrock of her throwing a kick or whatever is a lot less exciting than watching a 60-something-year-old woman still kicking ass.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So as far as like the ongoing long-term stuff, I still haven't gotten anything. So, how about yourself?
Well, I'm still waiting on the two books, the Risso book and the John M. Burns book, but I'm going to be pushing Thugs a little bit harder over the next few days and see.
Oh shit! I got to stop that too.
Yeah.
And then.
Well, it's not live yet. It goes live in September 1st, but I'm going to push the notification and maybe on emails show some behind-the-scenes artwork.
Okay.
Sketches
and also,
stuff. They'll help promote it.
All right. What has the 77 got going? Don't they have
Dave
like
have something?
Huh?
I don't know. I'll have to look.
Are they doing? They're not doing that Blazer annual yet, is it? It's is it an Uncle? They're not doing the Uncle Pat thing either.
Well, they are. They're doing Uncle Pat's American Reaper.
Oh, I think they're still. I think the V one is what's going. The Steve Bull one. So yeah, I got to make sure
also
I got that too.
Issue number 11 ends tonight at 10:30 p.m., which is UK time.
Oh,
Around 3 p.m. our
really?
time, I think. Yeah.
I already got mine. What the hell?
No, hold on. I could be wrong.
Maybe it's the Steve Bull one.
No, when you type in the 77, the page it gives you it just said it ends. They just changed the title to say that it ends tonight, but it already ended.
Okay. So anyway,
the Steve Bull one is still going. It's got 13 days to go.
Right.
They done well. 6,835.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, lesson learned. The regular comic does well. Kids stuff, maybe not so much. So, I mean, that's the way of Kickstarter. So I think that's it. We've shilled for our friends and ourselves. There's supposed to be a Your one coming up in a few weeks, but again, for our list, unless you live in the States, it's probably going to be kind of expensive.
That's the thing. I sent in the group how much the mailing costs. I mean, the mailing in the US has gone up like by $1, but for overseas, it's outrageous.
Yeah. And it's because there's too many of them. Well, pretty much everybody I know has a Kickstarter going. So, and they're doing it like on such a regular basis that, it's adding up to hundreds, if not like $1,000 of just shipping. So, I'm like, well, I gotta and honestly, like if it's something I want to, if it's the final version of whatever, and I want to keep it nice, keep a nice version of it, cool. But like individual issues of Kendra, I might as well just get the AP version, because I'm going to read the PDF long before it gets printed, and then if I want to keep a paper version, I'll just get the AP version, which is like $5, and I'll get it when I get my usual stack of comics. And the same thing with some of the 77 books. It's like I'll get, I like the V story, I like Steve Bull, but like, you know, Joe Healy was one who technically commissioned the Cavaliers, and so I'll spend the extra to get her actual physical book, because she did me a solid. So
Yeah,
you know,
the cost is
that's
outrageous.
how my thinking works.
When I do the Kickstarter, I have the fulfillment center send out the copies instead of sending them to me and me packaging them and sending them out, which will
Right.
cost double. But I mean, the rigid mailer that they send the copies in is really really good. But I mean, yeah, it's expensive. For example, in the US, if it weighs under 8 ounces, which the book does weigh under 8 ounces, it's $7 for shipping, right? To
Mm-hmm.
ship to Canada for the same under 8 ounces is $18. And then
Ooh,
for
that's great.
international, which is worldwide, UK, Europe, Australia, it's 21.
Yeah, once you get,
That's more than a comic is.
yeah, I
And
mean, once you get more than the cost of once you get more than half the cost of the item, then it's like time to really question, is it worth it? In my opinion.
yeah, well, that's the problem is I have no choice but to have those prices for thugs. Um,
Well, so if you're doing if you understand how Kickstarter works and you're sort of like a regular Kickstarter customer, um, I don't think that that's that crazy. You just kind of have to allow for it. But like if if you're on a limited budget, or you know, the you kind of have a feeling that the
you
book's going to
must
be
really
available
really like
elsewhere,
the project in order to do it.
right? Or you can't get it anywhere else.
Well, that's the
So
thing.
like,
That's the thing with thugs. Thugs won't be on Amazon because it's a shared property between myself and Al. Well, White Heat is basically owned by myself, so that's why they're up there. And same with caretakers. It's me and Rich, but Rich doesn't care. Um, but
right.
but with thugs, it's because it's me and Al. It probably will never be on Amazon
Well, I mean,
unless I can strike a deal with them.
you're on my extremely short list of people that I'll back, like whatever Kickstarter you put out there, because you know. But the for some people, if you kind of figure out like what their process is, it's like there's the Kickstarter, and they're using it to raise funds to get the project made. But once the project is made, there's another edition of it available elsewhere, either through publishing their publishing company, or through Amazon, where it goes through regular retail, and you can save on shipping, or the price goes down, or whatever, that way. You know, I'll take this. I have to take the second tier now. I can't
Hmm.
always go for
Well,
the premium
well, I'm kind of
Kickstarter.
glad. I'm kind of glad that the issue is 75 pages because it's that to me is value for money. But can you imagine people charging like $7 for shipping, or even 18 to Canada and 21 to overseas if it's only a 24-page book?
Yeah, the other live stream I do, the reason we got hooked up is because the guy declared himself like the ultimate Your fan, but he's in Canada, and and then he's got this buddy that also has his own YouTube channel and also reviews comics. And the buddy, without even knowing who I was or whatever, just happened to pick up a couple of issues of Jungle Comics and gave him a great review. Um, so there's the Your guy, and then there's the Jungle Comics guy. The Jungle Comics guy is the one who kind of looked a little like Eugene Levy. That was kind of
Mm.
like, you know. So anyway, they so now we're doing live streams where we're just talking about movies with a lot of comics like coming up just casually. But they both said that they got the first couple of issues of Yor and had to tap out because it was costing them like $20 for an issue, for each issue between shipping and everything else. And I was like, okay,
Yeah, it's only worth it if it's like maybe 50 to 70 pages or something.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, factor in what minimum wage is, and then factor in like how many hours of entertainment this is going to give you. And if it's like, if it's like $40, minimum wage now is like kind of close to the $20 range. So if it's like $40 and it doesn't give you 2 hours worth of entertainment, then forget that.
Yeah, it's a tough one. All right, let's do movies and TV. I watched the second season of Sandman. Finished it off.
And
I think they rushed it, and you know why they rushed it. Yeah, but it was pretty good. They had Satan leaving hell in it. They had well, if you read all the Sandman comics, you know what happens to the Sandman. Anyways, at the end, he spoiler. Even though the comic book is decades old now,
right,
he dies, and Daniel takes over as the Dream King. And because Daniel was conceived or in the dreaming, he's half human, half dream, whatever. So he's a better version of Dream. But it's typical Neil Gaiman that everything is fucking Doctor Who. So it's basically like death. It's basically like Dream and the Endless. They kind of like regenerate. If they get killed, they regenerate into a different version of themselves and keep all the memories of the previous incarnation. So that was like, when I saw that happen, I'm like, oh my god, what a fucking, he stole it from Doctor Who. Well, so overall it was pretty good. The actor that,
well, you remember the episode of Doctor Who that Neil Gaiman actually wrote, and it was like the
where
most
the TARDIS
Neil
is
Gaiman-y.
female.
Yeah, and she's like of course she's like in a Victorian dress because it's Neil Gaiman writing that.
Yeah. So that was okay. It did a really good job. They spent a lot of money on that show. You can see it's all on the screen. Yeah. I also watched the latest episode of Enterprise, or not Enterprise, Brave New Worlds.
Yeah.
Strange New Worlds. And that was okay. Had some good moments in it. Basically, it was a Kirk-centric episode showing Captain Kirk being the leader that he's the beginnings of him being the leader he's going to grow into. So that was interesting how they did that.
Yeah.
I hated the reveal of the big bad because it was kind of fucking stupid. So apart from that, it was okay. It was okay. So that was a nice touch. But that's it, really. Haven't really watched anything else.
You really cut through the crap.
Well, Strange New Worlds is the only. I'm a Star Trek purist. I couldn't stand the Next Generation. Thought it was the biggest pile of shit. And even when I tried all the other Star Trek episodes, like Voyager, Discovery, all that kind of stuff, they were all terrible. So I usually opted out after 2 or 3 episodes. And with Strange New Worlds kept my attention. But this season it's been very up and down, and I think they've got 2 more seasons left, and we'll see how it goes for the rest of the season. But if it doesn't improve a lot, I'll probably end up dumping it.
Did you were you one of the ones that I lost track of who was watching Alien Earth?
Oh no, John and Dave were watching that. I actually sat down to watch it the other day, but then Marnie started playing on her phone, and of course she leaves the volume on her phone. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just turn it off and I'll watch it another time.
She's one of those, is she?
Yep.
I see.
So
Well, I don't have much. I have I have some stuff I'm looking forward to. Um, so I did see. Okay, so this is like a super late for the party. Assault on Precinct 13, because we're going to be doing it on one of the future live streams for the. We've actually rebranded it too. It was called Days of High Adventure because the first ones we did were sort of like Conan adjacent uh, movies, and now it's called Circle of Iron from the David Carradine movie that everybody was like, "What? I had no idea this movie was so awesome." The people who, me and the other guy who knew what it was, were like, "Oh yeah, oh little man, you have entered a much larger world." So Assault on Precinct 13 was very interesting and cool from a filmmaking point of view. It was a great copy that I got to see. Tonight, I am going to be watching Superman, so it's become, finger quotes, available. And then I read well, when you make a bunch of projects that
shiver me timbers.
You, if it's worthy of me having it in my Blu-ray collection, I will do the right thing. But since I have not, I know you liked Peacekeeper and whatever.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't hate them.
When would you ever hope to see fucking Starro, the World Conqueror, on big screen?
I understand all that. Well, first of all, I was never that big of a DC fan where that would be like, but I do appreciate what a big deal that is.
No, it's a goofy fucking mind controlling starfish. I mean, you can't get any goofier than that, but it works.
Right.
But it works.
You can't get any more DC. I mean, that's the most DC villain that was ever DC. So
yeah, goofy. Mm-hmm. Almost as good as a big giant guy with a bucket on his head wearing cycling shorts walking through New York.
Who published Six Gun Gorilla?
Six Gun Gorilla. That sounds like a DC, but
I think it's one of those public domain ones, to tell you the truth. But DC had their
Kong
Gorilla Grodd and their anyway.
Kong Gorilla they had.
Yeah. So, but they had their share of the gorilla villains, gimmick gorilla villains. So yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just that I liked James Gunn when he was doing his own little indie movies, but I don't know how great a mix the two, especially since that's the only brand you're getting now. It's like I wouldn't have wanted Tim Burton to take over the entire DC universe either, and I'm really glad that Nick Cage Superman never got made, because so many people would have seen it, and then that cements. That's how people start to think of Superman, and So anyway, I'm going to try, but I'm going to give it a try. If it's something I think I'm going to watch once a year for the next few years, I'll give it a.
Hold on for a minute. I think this little guy wants out. Do you want outside? What are you crying at me for? I think you might be hungry for breakfast.
Oh.
Well, anyway, I enjoyed it for what it was, but that's me. I like the goofy stuff.
All right. I mean, I'll see how it actually plays out. I've not been I don't even do the thing. I've going way back. I've kind of dropped off on the YouTube movie reviews. Even Film Threat, I kind of only watch the clip videos that have talk about the movies I'm most interested in. I used to love the 2-hour live streams, but I'm so dialed out of movies now, and they'll talk about something that sounds pretty good, and I just don't have that 2 hours to sit there and watch it. So, and I'm starting to have a hard time finding the 2 hours to listen to their live stream reviews of them. So I'm just sort of, it's like, oh, what did they say about Red Sonja? So,
Well, that would
which
be an
leads.
interesting one to listen to.
Well, it's funny you should say that because that's the other one that I'm looking forward to. I
Mm.
will find the 2 hours to watch that with or without my dad. And Chris Gore liked it with a lot of caveats. And I don't think Alan saw it. And I did watch a couple more reviews, like the early reviews of it. And the consensus is it was made on a very low budget. The stuff, uh, it's definitely not a Frank Thorne looking Red Sonja, but she's pretty good in the role. Some of the special effects look cheap, but it's not something that's going to ruin the movie. And one of them who was like a fan of that kind of sword and sorcery stuff said, you really should support this movie if you want to see more sword and sorcery, because like the last few movies like this, like Solomon Kane and the Jason Momoa Conan, were such big box office flops that if this one that wasn't made on a big budget, if this one flops too, that's it. They're done. So if they could say like, okay, they can be successful if you make it out, keep it within a certain budget, you know. And I'm like, okay, you know, as long, and it doesn't have to be great. I mean, my collection of Roger Corman sword and sorcery movies, like the four Deathstalkers and the Barbarian Queens and all those, they're not great movies. But they were done at a time when there weren't a lot of them, and there aren't a lot of them now. They were all done before Xena Warrior Princess, and it's like, well, there's not even a TV show that's really like Xena Warrior Princess. Well, actually, Flint, you tell me, is there like another Game of Thrones out there right now, or
No.
yeah, and I wouldn't even put to me like the thing that kind of bugs me is that Robert E. Howard kind of sword and sorcery has been almost completely eliminated from the public consciousness. If we're talking about fantasy, it's all Lord of the Rings based.
Yeah.
It's a little cozier, Lord of the Rings based, and which kind
or
of
Game
makes
of Thrones based, or yeah.
Right, which kind of puts it European / British, or the other one. What's the other one?
You want to see more Dungeons and Dragons type stuff with orcs and goblins and trolls and giants, you know.
Yeah, well, even then, that's the thing that bugs me is that Dungeons and Dragons now, as big as you think it is, the number of kids I get every day asking for that kind of stuff, it's huge. And you go to Comic-Con, and like I said, the dealers who were doing the business were the ones selling the six-sided dice and Dungeons and Dragons stuff. But like when we were kids, when we were in high school, Dungeons and Dragons meant some Tolkien and a lot of Robert E. Howard. And they've completely eliminated the Robert E. Howard from the
because it's
equation.
too male.
Yeah. It's very, even if it's not male, it's very male gaze. Yeah. So they've completely eliminated or if there is a badass barbarian, he's the butt of the jokes. He's like really stupid. So it's kind of like the Star Wars problem, where there's like half of it is a copy of old Dungeons and Dragons, so it's like the classic monsters and the tropes people kind of remember from old Dungeons and Dragons, minus any kind of Robert E. Howard influence, and Tolkien. They kind of married those two things together to make modern Dungeons and Dragons. And I get it. It's fine, but I can still read Robert E. Howard books anytime I want. So, and I can read rip-offs of him anytime I want. So, but it just strikes. It's weird when something you like so much becomes like super popular, but it's like aggressively not the version that you liked.
Yeah, yeah.
So, especially if I liked Superman more, and it was like people were old, and if this James Gunn one was like really, really popular, where it's like everywhere, I'd be
Well,
kind of like, oh man.
well, I think there was a couple of comic book sites that were saying that sales in comic book stores went up because of the Superman movie. People were going in to pick up Superman comics.
Oh, there you go. Just takes a half decent good one, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's just like in the '80s when Batman, big Batman craze, like all the comics
Yeah,
back
well,
then.
right. Well, we did like there was a craze for Batman like up to the release of the movie, and that kind of included all the Batmans, but mostly the Tim Burton one.
But
And
even
a
after
lot
the
of that,
movie, the sales were just astronomical. They kept going for
sure.
a good few years.
Well, that movie kind of was the bookend for Dark Knight Returns. So there was like a lot of Batman to like too,
Mm.
and the regular comic was doing pretty well as
You know, that's
if I
that's what
remember correctly.
that's why they came out with a third Batman title, Legends of the Dark Knight,
Mm-hmm.
because it was
Mm,
they were selling so well. Now there's
right.
like fucking hell, probably 50
I
Batman,
know.
Superman spread across absolute Batman. Gotham by Gaslight Batman, Justice League Batman. They're just everywhere
There's
now.
literally Aztec Batman.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a comic or just a cartoon, but yeah,
No, he's probably in there somewhere. Okay, do you
I'm
want to do
sure he
do
is.
you want to do the prog? This will be really quick. Give me your best
What was
John's
the other?
voice.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. One more thing. One more thing. Nobody cares about it, but I'm very, very curious to see if, because it requires no effort on you guys' part, if you're going to do it. So, when I went to the Bond concert, my friends were talking about this place called Vidiots, which is like a very curated artist video store with a 200 some odd seat theater where they have special screenings of art films or retrospectives, whatever. And so they were telling me about how nice it was. They had gone to see a friend's project, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I got it confused with the place in Pasadena where it was a video store, curated video store for film nerds, but they would put folding chairs and kind of like a big screen TV to watch movies in there. And like, no, this one's got a theater, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, okay. So a couple of days after the concert, I looked them up to see what they had coming up, because I think somebody told me a long time ago they had shown Star Crash there, and I was like, I wonder if that's the same place then. So that night, that Wednesday night that I looked it up, they were going to screen the Devo documentary that's coming to Netflix
Oh, it's
on
already
the
on
big
Netflix, I
screen,
think.
and the three Devo guys were going to be there. So I've heard alternatively that it's on Netflix now, or it's debuting tomorrow. Tomorrow being like new releases for practically all the entertainments. It's new release day for books too. So I will double check to see if it's available. And my dad my jaw hit the floor because he says, well, we could put it on the big sound on my place if you want to do that way. And I was like, he fucking hates that kind of music, so he must love me if he's going to sit through an hour and a
Either
half
that
of
or
that
the
shit.
dementia setting.
Maybe, or he's just going to dick around on his phone while it's playing or something. Or knowing him, he'll passive aggressively go into the other room.
They do an Irish
So
goodbye. You just sneak out without you seeing them.
yeah, but I was wondering, Mike, I'm curious because John will watch music documentaries, and since this one requires absolutely no effort on either of you
Well,
guys'
Marnie wants
parts
to
to
watch it.
watch it. Really?
Yeah.
She's a keeper. So anyway, yeah, I was wondering if you guys would bother to sit through
Well, if she watches it, I'll
very
end up watching it too.
a very, very well curated high points, high points only. Like I could see why if they went kind of deep into it, you'd be like, oh boy, just get to whip it, God damn it. But yeah, so I would like to see what you guys think of it. I've not seen the whole thing. I've just seen clips. It looks pretty good. There's another documentary that was done, going back to Kickstarter Corner, was done for Kickstarter, and Mark Mothersbaugh put the kibosh on it because they talk about the sex and drugs that go with being a rock and roll band. And now he's doing so many soundtracks for kids' movies, he doesn't want that shit out there. So only... Now, you would think that I would have a means to see it, or it's leaked somewhere, or I've seen half of it. Like, nobody's seen it except for people very, very close to the band or the filmmakers.
Well,
and they've all kind of said that it's dark.
Well, the Devo documentary actually drops tomorrow.
That's what I thought. It's new release day, so that makes sense. So anyway, I don't get to see it tonight, and I may not get to see it tomorrow, but Thursday, that's where I'll be. So we can all talk about it next week. Well, actually, no, John's not coming back till the week after, right?
Yeah, did you know that it says here that Devo is launching a bi-weekly YouTube series called Devolutionary Times, featuring restored high-definition music videos. Yes,
I subscribe to it. It's a lot of the same stories I've heard before, but it's worth it to see the restored music videos, because I've seen all of those dozens of times, and it's jaw-dropping how sharp and clear they are now. So I don't even think they had the technology to make them look that good when they first came out, because they didn't have 4K or whatever they've been upscaled to. So, but yeah, if you haven't heard the stories before, they're good storytellers. The band lore is hilarious. So,
right. So you want to do your best John impression and we get the prog done?
Why not? Let's rock.
Pew, pew, Barney McGrew, Cuthbert, Dibble, Grub.
Oh, this will be really painless. Prog 24.
I'm not going to do the voice. I'm not going to do the voice for the stories I have to cover.
Well, you didn't do all the stories, did you?
I just make it up as I go along now, so I could do whatever you want me to do.
Okay. Prog 2445. We have our cover by Simon Davis. What do you think?
I think it does a good job of selling.
Hold on for a minute, Rossy. Hold on. Do you want outside? Sure. Let's go outside. Little guy's annoying me. Keep talking.
Okay. All right. So the Demon Drink, it's tied into the... I keep forgetting the story. It's the one that's like Mobland. The Ravelous Pact, it's tied into that. It's a demonic silhouette at a bar. It's not directly taken from any image that was in the story itself. It's a nice big image that I think would help sell the Prog, because you walk by, you see that on the rack, you go, oh, what's this? All of the wording is clear. The trademark is red. You can read it just as you're passing by the newsstand. So I think it looks pretty good.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
A little turd.
Timed it pretty well. I improv'd while you were gone and got it right back to your comeback.
For me, it's not a good cover at all.
Now, why did you not like it? Other than you're biased against the story.
It just doesn't do anything to me. I think it's bland. I mean, it's an easy paycheck for Simon Davis.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, design-wise. So while you were gone, I said it was... If you were just strolling past the newsstand, you could just sort of see it out of the corner of your eye and get what it is. You know, right. It's like, make you go like, oh, what's this? Shockingly, the text is readable. The trademark is red. The colors are stark. So
why didn't he? What? Yeah.
So my complaint would be, okay, so if I save the complaints, my complaint would be that once again it's a slow burn urban horror story in what used to be a science fiction magazine. I know they've gotten away from that brand, but it just seems like it's becoming more of that than is even the science fiction part of it. And also it's so it's another like horror-ish thing, and it is pretty simple. I mean, it might catch a normie readership's eye, but how many close-ups of Judge Dredd, or Judge Dredd pointing a gun at the reader, or Judge Dredd riding a lawmaster? It's like, how many more covers of that do you need? So it's a little different.
Okay, Thrills of the Future, Devil and War, the strip that nobody wants anymore. Coming back to Judge Dredd magazine. Yeah, Judge Dredd.
Oh,
Tunnels.
So we don't have to read it.
Yeah, Tunnels Part 7. Rob Williams, Orem Guerrera, Julio Brusco, and Ani Parkhouse. Dredd's a maniac again, Mr. Ross.
Jesus Christ, you're right about that. Do you want me to do it, or you?
Yeah, you go ahead. It's just,
This one's brief. So Dredd's investigating the crime scene where like all the terrorists had been, but he doesn't find his man that he's looking for, the cyborg fellow that killed everybody at the sector house. So he looks at a dart. There's one of them asks for help. It's like you said, it's like this person needs help, but they also wanted to kill all the judges, and the nerve of them to be dying asking for help. And so he just asks, where's the guy he's looking for? The little tour guide mutant person tells Dredd not to go into the jungle, so fuck it. Judge Dredd goes into the jungle, just strolls in, because he's a maniac, follows the footprints. There was like a native guide that he's talking to. I don't remember who the native guide is. But anyway, there's a comment that he's going to protect the mutant girl who from a distance doesn't have the big eye. He's going to protect her because he's old and she's young and he thinks she's the future. Judge Dredd finds a hole, drops into it, sees some naked guy who's waving his spear and his tallywhacker around, knifes the guy in the head, tells a whole bunch of cannibal mutants that he wants his guy given over to him. It looks like he's talking into a knife, like his microphone.
Testing, 1 2 1 2.
Is this thing on? So because he's a maniac, armed with a knife, he tells all these naked natives that he wants his guy handed over to him. So of course they say kill him, and I guess he's going to use the corpse that he just created as a shield, and we're going to have another action scene.
Yeah, I mean, I still like the art, but I mean, good grief, the story is tough work.
So it's someone needs to annotate these Rob Williams stories, because I'm assuming I want to give him credit that he's a smart guy, and that maybe he's being like super meta on a level that I no longer understand. Because we're at part 7 of a story where Dredd literally could have just found out where these terrorist people were holed up and landed a ship there and taken it from there. It would be a 3-part story maximum. But we're up to page, like the last part, I think the last part was one where there's like a whole page where he's like fighting the 3-headed water dragon. And there's all these like little jungle adventure tropes that are being dropped into each installment. And they don't really need to be there. They don't advance the story, but it's cool. I mean, it gives the artist something cool to draw, and the artist is doing a great job drawing them. The attack of the cannibal, the fight with the cannibals, the hole in the ground, all that's kind of like very jungle adventure tropey, but It's like Judge Dredd's version of Danger Island, if you remember that from the Banana Splits. But but it's also like, it feels like it's like, well, we got to get X amount of parts out, and even the action feels a little bit like padding with this. And then the way Judge Dredd is written is so out of character compared to Wagner or just about anybody else. And of course, it doesn't bother me as much as it bothers some people, but like the off-brand costume too, even with the artist does. It doesn't really feel like a Judge Dredd story.
No. It feels like an IDW Dredd story.
Yes, but it's not. I mean, this guy's written, but I can honestly say I don't know. I don't know at what point his work started to bother me, but I do remember like the very first stories he wrote seemed kind of on brand, and they were pretty exciting, and they were, they had bugaboos like the stupid black horse thing, but it's like I kind of understood what the metaphor was, but I don't understand what kind of meta stuff he might be trying to pull off in this one. But I don't like the way he writes Dredd, this maniac version of him. I understand why people might think, he's that way, but he's not really that way when John Wagner writes him.
Maybe he's influenced by the Stallone movie, and he's writing everything like a big Stallone action movie. That makes no sense.
That's what I think. That's what I think in this one. Like, is it a commentary on really stupid action movies from that era?
Because when you look at the Stallone Dredd, one of the most stupid things he does in it is he blows up the car in the middle of the street, and the guy doesn't move it. That's a Rob Williams type Dredd thing.
Because it had been like, I don't know how many minutes, 20 minutes into the movie, and nothing had exploded yet. And it's like, is it that style of writing where by page 3, there's got to be like this action-ish thing? Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's like around page 3, 4, 5, and the same thing happened with the water dragon thing. It was on like page 4 or 5. The water dragon shows up for there was no setup for it. It's just there. It's a cool action scene. We needed something exciting to happen by page 4 or 5, because I know they don't listen to us, but maybe somebody had been saying there's like way too much standing around talking in the thrill-powered comic book.
I'm sure Rob Williams is like, God damn it, I can't win with these motherfuckers.
Yeah, but it feels like the my Olive Garden illusion, where it's like you're at Olive Garden and they say you're going to get unlimited breadsticks, and the waitress just keeps ignoring you and keeps going by, and then on her break she gets in a fight with her boyfriend on the phone and comes back, and you say, hey, how about those breadsticks? And then she brings you like fucking breadsticks every 10 minutes, whether you ask for them or not.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's how we are now.
Okay. The Revilius Pact, Part 6, T.C. Eddington, Steve Austin, John Charles, and Simon Boland.
All right. So once again, this is Mobland with supernatural overtones. We're in a pub. The main character's wife's brother, who's kind of in trouble all the time, gets paid for his service as a host for the demons. And then he sees this demonic form, which is the shadow character from the cover. And all of this character's text is fucking backwards.
He's doing a bad version of Satana.
Yeah, at least Satana you kind of can decipher. Well, actually, Satana you don't mind deciphering because one of your eyes is looking at her boobs while she's talking. So there's none of that reward here. It's just a very involved bit of backward text for half a page, then another a third of a page that explains a lot of shit. Basically, there's like an incursion from the shadow realm
And
that's
just when I can't hate the strip
happening.
enough anymore, he puts him backwards
I
writing.
knew you, yeah, I'm gonna let you go to town on it because I don't have much to
That's
say
the
after
only
this.
thing, really.
Yeah, so and as they leave the as they leave the pub, um, I think what was supposed to be happening is the brother-in-law almost gets run over by a car, but the car goes through the shadow guy, and that's why he starts to dissolve. Hard to tell from that angle. Hard to tell from still images in a comic as well. So anyway, the main character guy, Ravelis or whatever, he's concerned about getting cancer because whenever you deal with the demons, people who deal with the demons start to get cancer. Uh, he goes to a warehouse where the psycho son of his boss is torturing a dude, and that dude is part of a rival gang, and it's going to start a gang war. So, like an asshole, he shoots the guy in the head. He's threatening our main character, shows him the charm that was supposed to protect him from the cancer that his dad had wanted the Ravelis guy to get, but the son kind of grabbed it the last minute. There's a little bit of a fight. Bodyguard throttles the guy, gives him a chance to get out, and watching from the side is the other guy that's actually got cancer and some mysterious redheaded woman. And there you go. That's
Yeah,
a lot going on.
I think Steve Austin's art is actually sloppy. Um,
Mm,
I think it's very loose and sloppy. Like on page
mm,
1, 2, 3, the bottom panel on page 3 where he shoots the guy in the head. I mean, the gun is
yeah.
dead on straight. And also, if I was to draw that arm that he's using to shoot the guy in the head, it wouldn't match
Hmm.
up. It's like he's using the guy in the foreground's body to cover up his art mistake. And I
Mm,
don't know if this is the colorist or the artist, but the top panel on that page, there's blood gushing out of that guy's bottom mouth all over his chest, and then in the bottom panel where he gets shot in the head, it's gone.
mm.
So
There's always been like little inconsistencies in Stephen Austin's artwork, which I thought would be like the more work he got, the more I thought he'd polish it up a little bit. But it's kind of some of it's still there,
mm,
um,
I mean, I'm sure he's a
and
great
some
guy and everything. Just that his artwork has gotten when he first appeared on the scene, it was more polished than it is now,
oh, okay.
and it could be the script. I mean,
So
on the second last page, right, the bottom left hand panel. I mean, the colorist. You see that hand, the guy with the colors off, like on the hand.
yeah,
It's like I don't know if they're inspired at all by the story, the artist or the colorist.
and I don't know like these kind of comic stories um, take a while to develop. Even if it isn't like the most epic, spectacular thing ever. Um, so I don't know if anybody actually had seen Mobland or had any like in-depth knowledge of what it was going to be at the time that they were writing and or drawing the story. But it's like, my God, you've got the you've got the main character who's not related to this infamous crime family, who's kind of like their fixer and the good guy, and then you've got the main patriarch of the family who's like a psychopath, and you got his son who's an even bigger fucking psychopath. There's a couple of characters missing. We don't have the Helen Mirren character or some of the other stuff, but the core of Mobland is here, and the only real twist is using the demons to, you know, do some help with the crimes and stuff like that, which is again such a low. To me, it feels like low stakes. It's like this low key, slow burn, streaming horror series type concept. High concept for streaming, that totally work as a streaming show. But, I, I've seen Stephen Austin do some pretty cool fantasy stuff, and he's got a good imagination. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just like drawing a bunch of people.
Yeah, it's not really inspiring for him.
No, you're basically drawing panels out of a streaming show like Mobland. So, the action's like okay. It's a couple of characters trade blows and whatnot, but I what are we on now? I should come up with like if it's not happening by chapter whatever, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So this is part 6. Probably the way they were talking in the Tharg's Nerve Center at the beginning, probably midway through the series. It'll probably end by mid-September. So probably going to be a 10 or 12 part series. And I think I gave it a chance. And I don't hate it. I don't even dislike it. If I had a choice between bringing this one back for a sequel or skip Tracer, I'd go for this. But that's pretty. If I had a choice between bringing this back or bringing Hope for the Future back for another 20 installments of traced photos, I'd go with this. So.
Okay, Azimuth, Abandoned by God, Part 6. Dan Abnett, Tazio Betton, Matt Soff, and the Cosplay Cowboy, Dim Dumbbell.
All right, so the shit's really hit the fan. All the white-wearing assassins have showed up, and they're killing all the people at Thunderdome. Tracy 9mm... No, that's not Tracy 9mm. Susie 9mm gets in a fight with Tracy Weld and stabs her with her Tron lightsaber machete, and it's said that she's going to just repair herself, so they put a thing on her neck so she won't remember who she is, and it kind of like dampens her a little bit. So there's a bit of a mopping up with the white wearers. They capture Dexter and Judge Anderson and take him back to the throne room of the gods of Azimuth. And then characters stand around and talk for a while. They want to get data from him, and he kind of gives them a little overview about Azimuth was download. Meanwhile, Tracy Weld repairs herself, and she wants to kill Dexter still. So the damper thing doesn't really work.
Well, the artwork is amazing, but the story's like, come on, man, wrap it up. I'm on the side of the stage I'm on the side of the stage with a big hook, ready to pull you off the stage.
Yeah, this is part 6, and it's not the first arc of this long-running saga, and it really feels like it's padding. It's a pleasure to look at. Lots of stuff happens. He keeps the action rolling. He keeps the banter going. He keeps the good ideas coming. But I'm starting to realize that he has a gift for making running in place seem to be going someplace.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move swiftly on. Scarlet Traces, Empire Blood, Part 14. Ian Edgington, Disraeli, and Annie Parkhouse.
All right, so a Martian war machine comes out of the hole that it made in the floor of this warehouse. Germans are shooting. There's a lot of Germans, more Germans than I thought. Germans are shooting.
You should be happy.
No, because they get killed. War machine tentacles burst a bunch of catches a bunch of them, and then they burst. Now I only count 3 Germans exploding here, but the guy says 9. And then I just made that one up. Yeah, and even there was no foreshadowing there. Dad joke level 2000. So this fellow Bay, who's like the investigator who's been pulled off the case, and the Bobby, who's kind of been his comic relief sidekick. They're looking at the warehouse burning. They hear gunshots. They come in. There's one guy left, one German left, shooting at the war machine. And just when it looks like he's going to get all killed and fucked up, they run over to the other war machine that's been damaged that the Germans were going to try to get out of the country.
The German guy jumps into the abandoned Martian craft and gets dragged underground.
Yes, he gets pulled underground. And then the two heroic figures decide to tally-ho down the hole and go after him.
Yeah, this is really beautifully drawn. Lots of action, lots of blood, gore, and fantastic. When you look at all the other chapters, this is probably the most action chapter of the whole lot.
Yeah, although after a slow burn, the last chapter was pretty exciting too.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, not as the last when the story was winding down, when the big main story is winding down, it was pretty freaking epic. I mean, it was like one of the most epic things 2000 AD had run in a long time. It was a long running story, but it wasn't like Slain or something that had been around since the 80s, right? 80s or even 90s. Or has it been around since the 90s?
Probably. Think so.
Dang.
Scarlet Traces? I think it first made its appearance in the 90s.
So okay, so would I be wrong in saying that it's part of that second generation then that would include like Shikara,
yeah, I think so.
Indigo Prime. So it's not the super old classics, but it's in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like some of the other ones just kind of fizzled out, but it's like Scarlet Traces, whether they were making it up on the fly or not, they made it feel like they had been building up to that, and here's the finale, and it all makes sense, and it's all wrapped up. Awesome. So to come back to it was always going to be difficult because, but for a little side story, I was cynical at first, but it was kind of, I was doubtful, but they're pulling this off.
Well, Scarlet Traces was, I think it was published by Dark Horse in 2002.
Oh, okay. So it's not really, so if it was the 90s, it's like late 90s, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but good for them. I think they have surpassed expectations at this point.
It was actually a web strip. It started off with, remember the Cool Beans world?
Yes, I do. I even subscribed to Cool Beans just so I could read the story.
Yeah, it was supposed to appear on there, and they had the comic that was 75% complete, and then it went under the site.
Mm-hmm.
So then it appeared in Judge Dredd magazine as a reprint.
Mm-hmm. And that was good too. You couldn't, people were complaining about the reprints, but I didn't think it was that horrible a thing. I had never read Preacher, so it was good for me. It's all new to me.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's. I tell you what, the letterer, Annie Parkhouse. I don't know if she's responsible for it or if it's Disraeli himself, but the lettering in this installment is amazing. All the different sound effects and the way, like on page 1, bottom panel, it's behind the whiplash thing. It's behind the characters, and then later on page 4, the fourth panel, where it has the TH or the thrum sound, the way it's partly obscured, but it's standing up. The lettering is just amazing in this too. Colors, artwork, everything in installment is a perfect installment. It's amazing.
I'm wondering if John's going to say something about the Bobby. There's like a panel where he's got his hand behind his back while shooting, and I was like, that looks pretty authentic.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, the story that didn't need to exist but exists anyways. New Words, War Tales, The Last Days of Fort Europa. Here comes Rennie to piss and shit over everything again. Gordon Rennie, Peter Doherty, and Peter Doherty on letters.
You pretty much said it as much. So this is the origin of Fort Europa. So again, we've taken like what was a goofy strip from way back in the day with a kind of goofy name because everybody in this fort is crazy. So Neuro is sort of like alluding to the brain, and they've all lost their minds. And so that gives them a chance to do crazy, chaotic things like disco dancing. And we've turned it into this sad sack story.
I know, it's unbelievable.
About how
look
it came
at the
to
cliche.
be that way.
I know, look at the cliche at the end, the very last panel. That cliche. Of course he's racist and extreme because he's got the British flag on his face.
Oh, yeah. I mean, of course it's going to... this is...
Isn't these colors... these colors don't run an American thing?
Yes.
So I don't know why you'd be saying that.
Well, and then they spell it. The colors are spelt that.
See, Trump should charge an extra tariff for that, for putting U's in words that don't belong.
So anyway, there's in the most humorless way possible, except for making mild jabs at the French. We go from like everybody's crazy in the original version of the story with action and energy and everything else to him slowly going insane.
Yeah, these colors don't run as primarily associated with the United States and its flag. So there's Rennie fucking up again. I mean, you might as well have Texas trying to take over Mega City 1 like Mickey O'Carroll did.
Right. Well, and then the color scheme goes, from some color to gray to sepia to black and white. So when you get to that last panel, that'll really stand out. However many hundreds years in the future this is supposed to take place, they'll still be using the British flag and old-timey slogans like that. So, and to be fair, I mean, they were still using like World War One terminology for some of their stories, like Bad Company and Rogue Trooper, but
World War II.
They're kind of playing it more for laughs. And this is like the one and only punchline in the whole thing, except for a couple of mild moments of, levity. But we're just going to get months. How many more months? So here's one of my concerns. It's not.
Yeah, how many more Rogue Trooper stories are going to be before the movie gets released?
Yeah, well, so here's the reality, right? So we're talking about Red Sonja. There's August is one of the months where they dump all the movies that they don't think are going to do very well, or they were low budget, so they may not make that much money. But if they don't, they didn't cost that much, so they might actually turn a profit. That kind of crap, So, and there's like another month in there that is kind of considered slow, and they drop movies in there as well. And I forgot which one it is. But I have a feeling that they've been saying Rogue Trooper coming in 2026. I have a feeling they're going to Red Sonja like they'll play in one theater. They're playing a limited release for a day or maybe a week, and then it'll go almost directly to streaming, and then it'll do what it's going to do. But it's not like I talked to tons of other comic book fans throughout the week, but the ones that I've mentioned Rogue Trooper to, they didn't even know it existed, or they knew it was a movie coming, but they didn't know anything about the character or where it was from or what his deal is or what the origin is. Nothing. So
the budget on it is so low that they might be able to make their money back and make a profit from it.
if they do it super clever, sure, why not? But again, it's like, who's it going to please? What is Doomsday can't possibly be coming out next year already, is it?
I think so, yeah.
Is it that soon? Okay. Well, and who knows how that's going to do at this point. I mean, if anything, I thought Fantastic Four might not save, but might begin the massive turnaround that they're going to have to do, but apparently it's like not bad. At best, it's not bad. So, I don't know, man.
I blame a lot of that on the overkill on Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of bad press about him when the movie was being released, about his nervous habit. And that may have played a bit into it.
It could be. A lot of that came from right-leaning people, I think, though. So it wasn't taken that seriously, but it was just another thing to talk about a guy who's like already been overdone.
Yeah, and also the advertising for it was, I don't think it appealed.
No.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was wondering I am really down on Disney because they killed Indiana Jones, they killed Marvel, and they've killed Star Wars. But that was the one because I loved the comics so much that if they had done right by that, I could be convinced that maybe things were turning around. And I will see it eventually when it becomes available. But everything I've seen of it is nothing worth getting me into a theater for $20 to check it out.
Well, the only reason I went to see it because my grandkid was out. I would never bother with it.
Right. So, because my brain goes back to the days of like the Stallone Dread movie, where like if there's 20 minutes in there that show, even if it's just random images and selected scenes that remind me of the comics that I love, I can enjoy it for that. Galactus looks cool, right?
And with Rogue, but that's definitely one of those movies that I'll wait till I can see it for free.
Yeah, that because I mean of the main old core characters, he's probably like my least favorite.
Yeah.
Had it been Strontium Dog, had it been Slane, had it been Nameless the Warlock, had it been
ABC Warriors,
Robo Hunter,
ABC
Hunter. Warrior, had it been
fucking Meltdown Man would have been perfect.
Right. Had it been any of Uncle Pat's characters or creations, I would have been like, shut up and take
it would have been
my
too
money.
expensive. Doing a Nemesis movie would cost so much money. Unless they AI'd everything or computer generated everything in the background.
Right. The quiet thing out loud is, that they could do all of those things now.
And if the problem with Nemesis and Torquemada is they have no mouths.
It's also too weird of a story.
Yeah, well, it's like Zen, the intergalactic ninja we were talking about earlier before the show started. You have to give the guy a mouth. You can't just go around in a cartoon or in a movie just psychically talking to people like that. You can do it now and again, but you gotta have to give the guy a mouth.
Yeah, that was the thinking when they did give him a mouth, like toward the end of the original run.
Right.
And then they gave him a faceplate to keep it on brand because most of the ninja movies are wearing that face mask.
Face thing.
Yeah. So I mean the thing is like except Dread is really damaged right now, and the way the culture is, where you've got like I know how scary the image of a van pulling up and masked guys coming out. You can't see their faces, armed dudes coming out and dragging people away. I know what that looks like, and I know historically what that seems like a throwback to, which is the same throwback that some people associate with Dread. So I can't see Dread as any kind of, unless the culture changes by a lot in 5 years. I can't see
Well,
Dredd doing
Dread,
back
you wouldn't do
anytime
Dread as a movie. You do it as an animated series aimed at adults, and you play it on, you put it on streaming, or if you're going to have it on TV, you'd have it late at night.
Okay, so Spitball, what would let's say you did 12 episodes, what do you think the budget for that would be?
Well, it costs at least $150,000 per episode for the animation alone. That's not counting.
Yeah, see,
That's not counting backgrounds. It's not counting scripts. It's not counting voiceover actors. It's not counting
right,
character designs. It's not counting all of that. You're probably looking at $1 million an episode, or near enough to it.
right. So where are you showing this?
It'd have to be.
one
It'd
of
have
the
to be
big,
Netflix. Would have to buy it, or Amazon. It'd have to be something like that can afford to pay
it's
the money.
right. So somebody top tier paying top dollar for it, because it couldn't be Cartoon Network, or
No,
it couldn't even be Hulu. It
no,
couldn't be a second tier like
couldn't be
Hulu. It would have to
Tubi.
be
Couldn't be any of those.
right.
It'd have to be
So
high tier.
that's right, and that's for Dread, which might have have some
If you cut
name
corners, cut budgets, and
recognition.
cut everything else, you could probably get away with it like 500,000 per episode.
Right.
But that's cutting a lot of
So,
corners.
but once I don't see there being like I don't see it having that kind of appeal.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
even if you
well, put it this way.
advertise,
Put it this way. The Batman animated series. This is back in the '90s. That was roughly $1 million per episode.
okay, well they got their money's worth. But
Oh, they won tons of awards.
that was on network TV, and that was a character that was like the most recognizable
Little
comic
character,
book
and they
character.
made tons of
Yeah,
money out of it. Action figures, all the merchandising alone, DVD
yeah. I
sales.
mean, half the country would not let their kids play with a Judge Dredd action figure.
No, weird.
I
Can you
mean,
imagine the two kids playing it? Like one's got a citizen in its hand, the other one has dread. Come here, you. Birdie says you're lying about something. Smack, 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 smack.
you couldn't even have. They wouldn't even have. You couldn't have a Judge Dredd costume playset because it would have to have a gun and a baton.
Yeah, there you go. All that
Half the
stuff is
country
gone
would.
now. I don't think you see that in stores anymore. You see army men,
What,
but I don't think you see guns or anything. Like they're usually water guns, but not.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the only place you see them is like maybe at Dollar Tree or one of those
yeah, yeah.
discount Chinese knockoff discount stores. So yeah, I mean, and Nemesis the Warlock and all the other ones are so weird that and you frankly could not adapt some of the Robo Hunter stories.
Oh yeah.
Some of the best jokes from
You'd have to,
Robo Hunter could
yeah,
not be done.
yeah, yeah. The World Cup
So
storyline. Couldn't do that one.
yeah, but you couldn't do them as mass market. But if you were to suck it up and use an inexpensive technology, you could maybe do some little short form and not worry about doing a feature film. Just do some short form stuff to acquaint a wider audience with what it is. But I mean, if you're going to take a political stance on it, enjoy shooting yourself in the foot,
Yeah.
because
So yeah,
people who don't own IPs are going to use it and make their brand something, and that's cool. It's time to elbow a few things aside and see what new things people can come up with.
well, what was your favorite story, Rossy? Mine was Scarlet Traces.
Yeah,
You too.
Scarlet Traces.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything to say before we hit the road?
Oh my God, I think I've said enough. It's as long as a regular podcast.
I think
It's as
next
long
week.
as longer than it's mostly me.
I think John will be here on Monday next week, so we won't be recording then. But I'll have to put out an archive episode for that, and then we'll play catch up the following week.
That sounds great. Yeah, our listeners had enough of me. I've had enough of me.
All right, I'll stop recording.